An introduction, the alchemy of allowing. Within the grand tapestry of the cosmos, where unseen currents of energy dance and weave, lies a profound secret to true prosperity. A truth often veiled by the common illusions of relentless toil and mere accumulation. Many have been led to believe that to achieve financial abundance, they must engage in a perpetual chase, a constant struggle, a frantic grasp for every dollar. They hurl themselves into an unending race, their hearts heavy with the dread of scarcity, their minds ensnared by the cold calculus of numbers. But what if one might wonder, this very desperate clinging to the idea of money is the invisible barrier deflecting its natural, effortless current away from them? Imagine, if you will, a mighty river of affluence, ever flowing, endlessly bountiful. When an individual attempts to scoop up its waters with all their might, their spirit taut with tension and demand, the stream itself seems to play a subtle game, eluding their grasp, slipping through their fingers and dissolving into mist. This pursuit, when animated by the specters of fear and the gnawing ache of insufficiency, unwittingly generates a counterforce, a subtle friction within the vast energy field of the universe. The cosmos, in its impeccable mirroring wisdom, seems to reflect this very strain, causing the object of their intense desire to recede ever further into the distance. Yet the true architects of abundance, those souls initiated into the luminous enigma of what some call the reverse law, comprehend a different way, a more graceful, knowing dance with the universe's flow. They understand that authentic power is not discovered in the act of forceful acquisition, but in the art of becoming a living magnet, drawing unto themselves what is already theirs by divine right. They do not pursue money, rather they meticulously cultivate an inner landscape of opulence, a profound serenity, and an unshakable trust in the boundless generosity of life itself. When a soul begins to loosen the tight fist of control, when their focus shifts from the mantra of "I need money" to the resonant affirmation, "I am the embodiment of all sufficiency," a truly wondrous transformation begins to unfold. This is not the stuff of fanciful illusion or cheap magic, but the precise, observable mechanics of a natural law. Opportunities for financial grace begin to materialize, often from unexpected quarters, with a surprising and delightful ease. Creative insights bloom, relationships of true value blossom, and the currents of financial well-being begin to flow towards them, organically, without force or strain. Much like a garden tended with unwavering love and patient faith will inevitably burst forth with flower and fruit, so too does prosperity naturally find its way to those who open their hearts to receive it from a sanctuary of inner peace and profound gratitude. The reverse law, in its elegant simplicity, unveils that with money, as with so much else in this existence, true potency resides not in the frenetic external motion of seeking, but in the serene internal state of knowing one's inherent fullness. It is not unearthed in the anxious pangs of wanting, but in the deeply felt sense of already having within the very fabric of one's consciousness. This represents a subtle yet extraordinarily powerful shift in awareness, a migration from the exhausting hunt for wealth born of desperation to the calm and deliberate allowing of prosperity to express itself effortlessly. And now the portal to this timeless wisdom stands ajar, beckoning to those spirits ready to perceive its subtle truths. The journey to financial liberation, it turns out, does not demand ceaseless battle, but rather an enlightened awareness. It calls not for coercion, but for the gentle release of limiting narratives and a harmonious alignment with the sagacious, intelligent flow of the universe. When this inner alchemy is embraced, money ceases to be a tyrannical master or an elusive prize. Instead, it transforms into a steadfast companion, a benevolent current of energy joyfully supporting the unfolding adventure of life. Part 1. Shattering Illusions and Embracing the True Essence of Abundance. Chapter 1. Unveiling the Flow of Prosperity. In a bustling metropolis where skyscrapers pierce the sky like monuments to ambition, There lived an entrepreneur named David. For a decade and a half, David had poured every ounce of his being into forging his financial empire. He attended every seminar, networked with every seemingly influential figure, and pursued each deal with a determination bordering on desperation. He worked day and night, his mind a taut wire of numbers and cash flow anxieties. Yet the paradox was this: the more ferociously he tried to grasp wealth, the more it seemed like water slipping through his fingers, leaving him with a hollow ache of exhaustion and emptiness. Lucrative contracts would mysteriously vanish at the 11th hour. Potential investors would, with a polite shake of their heads, decline. Then one late afternoon, reeling from yet another bitter disappointment, David sat silently in his opulent yet sterile office. Drained by the ceaseless chase, an involuntary sigh escaped him, a sigh that carried the weight of all his burdens. "Perhaps," he whispered to the empty room, "I should focus on creating genuine value, on the original passion that sparked this venture, instead of just chasing the money." In that singular moment of releasing the crushing weight of must achieve financial success at all costs, a subtle yet profound shift occurred within the energetic field of the universe, and more importantly, within him. He began to invest his time in truly listening to his clients, in refining his products with heartfelt dedication, in rediscovering the joy in his work. A few months later, a significant collaborative opportunity, one he had previously only dared to dream of, unexpectedly found its way to him, arising from an old connection he had almost forgotten. The prosperity he had so relentlessly pursued was now, with a gentle and natural grace, finding its way to him. This cosmic principle, this law hidden in plain sight, operates with unwavering precision in every facet of life, money included. When you clench your fist desperately, trying to hold on to what you crave, be it money, love, or recognition, you inadvertently create a resistance. The very energy of excessive wanting, the scarcity mindset that fuels it, repels the very thing you seek. It's akin to chasing your own shadow under the midday sun. The faster you run, the more swiftly it flees. The ancient sages, those who perceived deeply into the universe's mysteries, had mastered this sacred paradox. They knew the universe responds not to force or demand, but to resonance and allowing. The quantum field itself, the invisible bedrock of our reality, mirrors the energetic state you broadcast. When you release the energy of desperate seeking, when you relinquish your attachment to specific outcomes, you become an open conduit for the abundant currents the universe is ever ready to bestow. The story of Sarah, a freelance designer, also mirrors this truth profoundly. For years, Sarah lived under the constant shadow of bills and the precariousness of her income. Each new project carried the heavy burden of needing to earn enough. Every interaction with a potential client was tinged with anxiety. She'd check her bank account daily, her heart constricting with each glance. It was only after a deep meditation retreat when she began to cultivate gratitude for what she did have, however small, and found a quiet peace in creating, without the crushing weight of financial pressure, that things began to shift. She released her fear of lack, trusting that the value she offered would be recognized and rewarded. Miraculously, collaboration offers began to arrive one after another. Former clients returned with larger, more exciting projects. The flow of money into her life became steadier, more abundant, not because she was trying harder, but because she had fundamentally altered her energetic frequency. The universe operates through potent paradoxes. That which you frantically chase will often elude you. That which you authentically allow and open yourself to receive will effortlessly find its way to you. This is not merely an abstract spiritual philosophy. It is a fundamental law of energy and consciousness that governs the very flow of money. When you cease trying to force the river of finance to bend to your will through tension and fear, you will be astonished to discover that you were already standing in a powerful current of prosperity all along. You simply hadn't recognized it before. Now, as this wisdom begins to permeate your awareness, you are invited to engage in the sacred art of letting go within your financial sphere. Find a quiet space, close your eyes. Bring to mind a specific financial goal you've been pursuing with intense effort. Perhaps even strain a certain sum of money, an investment opportunity, or the ideal of financial freedom. Feel the contraction, the holding pattern in your energy field around this desire. Now take a deep breath, and as you exhale, imagine opening your palms, releasing this desperate pursuit, this attachment into the vast, capable hands of the universe. Say silently or aloud, "I release my desperate need for this specific financial outcome. I trust in the divine intelligence and perfect timing of the universe. What is truly mine, the financial blessings meant for me, can never miss me." Repeat this practice daily with an open heart and a peaceful mind. Then begin to observe with wonder and delight how the universe responds to your sincere act of surrender with unexpected gifts of prosperity and unbidden opportunities. Chapter 2: The Grand Paradox of Monetary Flow. In the heart of a financial district that never slept, where dreams of riches were pursued with a ferocious intensity, lived a man named James. Each dawn before the first rays of sun touched the city, James's mind was already a relentless whirlwind of financial plans, investment strategies, and revenue targets. He devoured every wealth-building book, attended every seminar that promised a shortcut to success, and threw himself into a grueling 16-hour workday until exhaustion blurred his vision. Yet the cruel irony was that despite these extraordinary efforts and ceaseless dedication, the financial success he so desperately craved remained like a phantom, elusive and slippery, gliding through his grasp like morning mist dissolving in the sun. You see, James's story is not an isolated case. He was a living embodiment of a core truth, an underlying principle that governs all manifestation in this universe, especially the flow of money. The more desperately and attachedly you pursue something, the faster your desired outcome flees from you. His constant struggle was not his alone. It mirrored one of humanity's most profound and prevalent misconceptions about how prosperity is truly achieved. The universe, in its wise operation, always adheres to the law of least effort. Contemplate the natural world around us. Flowers do not strain to bloom in their vibrant colors. Rivers do not force themselves to surge towards the vast ocean. They simply allow their inherent nature to be fully expressed. This principle not only echoes through the teachings of ancient Eastern sages, where wu-wei, actionless action, or effortless action is considered the highest form of doing, but it is also reflected in the discoveries of quantum physics, where the mere act of observation can alter reality. One fateful evening, as James finally collapsed from utter exhaustion, something extraordinary occurred. In that moment of complete surrender, when he no longer possessed the strength to cling or pursue a profound truth, unveiled itself to him. It was his relentless striving, his underlying tension and fear that had inadvertently erected an invisible wall of resistance, blocking the very flow of abundance he sought. The instant he loosened his seemingly life-or-death grip on the notion of must succeed at all costs, the universe began to quietly rearrange itself in his support. A chance encounter, an idea that sparked during a moment of uncharacteristic relaxation, led to a business partnership that unfolded with ease and grace. And then within a few short months, the wealth he had once so arduously hunted began to flow into his life elegantly, gently, and almost without effort. This paradoxical principle manifested similarly in the journey of Elena, a passionate financial consultant. For years, she had battled a sense of stagnation in finding breakthrough ideas to help her clients grow their assets as well as her own income. She forced her mind to be creative, to find the perfect solution, but her creativity seemed to wither under the weight of self-imposed expectations and pressure, until one day, utterly weary, she decided to consciously stop trying. She began taking long walks in the park, allowing her mind to wander freely, listening to instrumental music. To her astonishment, unique investment ideas and innovative financial strategies began to flow through her naturally, as if they had always been there just waiting for her to get out of their way so they could be revealed. You see, struggle and strain are not prerequisites for financial success. On the contrary, they are often the greatest impediments to the flow of prosperity. When you release the need to control every outcome, when you relinquish the compulsion to make it happen, you naturally align yourself with the abundant and generous current of the universe. This is not passive resignation, but an active, allowing, a refined state of awareness, poised to attract rather than relentlessly pursue. Imagine the vast ocean. You cannot hold water by clenching your fist. It will only slip through your fingers. But if you open your palm, relax, and receive, water will naturally pool there. This is the way of manifesting all desires, including money. The universe responds not to your desperate efforts, but to your state of being, your vibrational frequency. This ancient practice of letting go can begin with a simple breath. Find a quiet space where you can sit undisturbed. Close your eyes and become aware of any financial area in your life where you feel you've been trying too hard, holding on too tightly. Feel the tension of that effort in your body, in your mind. Now, with each exhale, consciously release that tension. Imagine your financial aspirations like delicate paper boats floating on a stream. You don't need to chase them because the natural current of life, when you allow it, will bring them to you gently and in perfect timing. Chapter 3. The Illusion of Controlling the Current of Money. In a high-stakes financial center where every market tremor seemed to dictate fortunes, there was an investor named, let's call him David again, for this archetype is common. He was renowned for his meticulous analysis and financial plans, detailed down to the last decimal. Each morning, David commenced his day by scrutinizing every market fluctuation, attempting to predict and orchestrate every transaction, every investment outcome, every cash inflow and outflow with an almost obsessive precision. He believed that by tightly controlling every element, he could safeguard and expand his wealth. However, the ironic truth was that the more he endeavored to control every market variable, the more his financial world seemed to plunge into unpredictable turbulence, and the peace of mind he sought grew ever more distant. Expected profits often failed to materialize. Golden opportunities would slip away right before his eyes. Surely you too have experienced this sensation, that tightening in your chest, that creeping unease when your carefully calculated financial plans suddenly veer off course due to unforeseen factors. Like David, you may have discovered that the more you attempt to dictate the direction of the river of money, the more rebellious it becomes, resisting your will to control. The universe, in its sagacious operation, functions through a sacred paradox. That which you try to control with all your might ultimately ends up controlling you. When you cling to financial security out of fear and excessive control, it becomes elusive, much like trying to hold water in a clenched fist. The water only escapes more rapidly. When you attempt to force the flow of money into rigid molds of your own making, you only succeed in distorting its natural current and its inherent potential. The story of Michael, manager of a small investment fund, also profoundly reflects this truth. For years, he had constructed fortresses of protection around his investment portfolio, meticulously screening every opportunity against a long list of stringent criteria and a deep-seated fear of risk. He monitored every minor market fluctuation with heightened vigilance, always poised to cut losses at the slightest sign of instability. Yet the wealth and asset growth he desired remained a distant dream because his excessive control and fear had caused him to miss out on potential growth opportunities, condemning him to a state of perpetual financial tension. His salvation lay precisely in the moment he recognized and released this pattern. When Michael finally tired of constantly fighting and defending, when he began to learn to trust more in long-term analysis in the intrinsic value of his investments and to allow the market its natural ebbs and flows, everything shifted. He discovered that true financial security is not found in suffocating control, but in well-founded trust. Trust in the natural currents of the economy, trust in the wisdom of proven investment principles, and most importantly, trust in his own judgment and composure when facing uncertainty. This ancient wisdom speaks to you now, right here. All the prosperity you seek is actually seeking you too, but it cannot enter through the tightly barred doors of fear and control. Your desire to control often stems from fear of lack, fear of loss, fear of failure. But that very fear is the only thing standing between you and true freedom and abundance. To begin releasing the grip of the control illusion over your financial life, practice this sacred ritual of trust. Each morning, identify one small aspect of your daily financial activities that you typically try to control tightly. It could be the hourly checking of stock prices, excessive worry about an upcoming small expenditure, or the outcome of a business negotiation. Make a conscious choice to release your grip on this one thing for the day, allowing it to unfold as naturally as possible while you still act responsibly and with clear judgment. Notice how your financial flow and your emotional state become lighter as you step out of its way. As you practice this gentle art of letting go, you will discover a liberating truth. The prosperity you seek was never meant to be captured or coerced. It only needs to be allowed, invited in with an open heart and a trusting mind. Chapter 4. The Magnetic Power of Stillness. Financial flow amidst a relentless financial hub, where the clamor of trading calls and strategic meetings seemed never to cease. Frederick, an executive director, often paced his office late into the night. His desk was a battleground of analytical charts, financial reports, and lists of urgent solutions to salvage his struggling company. His mind raced like an engine against time, desperately trying to conjure an escape route, each new idea more complex and demanding greater effort than the last. Yet with a profound irony, the financial success he craved remained elusive, always just beyond his reach. The more forcefully he pushed, the more he attempted to control every variable, the more his business seemed to resist his tireless efforts, and the tighter the cash flow became. Surely you too have sensed this unceasing drive, this internal pressure that impels constant action, the urge to solve, to do something to shift your financial circumstances. Modern society, particularly within business culture, often glorifies perpetual busyness and ceaseless action. However, hidden deep within this relentless movement lies the very invisible barrier to the prosperity you seek. The ancient masters, those who understood the energetic currents of the cosmos, grasped a truth the modern world seems to have forgotten. True power is not found in endless activity, but is birthed from sacred stillness. When you temporarily suspend the ceaseless doing and allow yourself to step into the realm of being, a state of pure presence, you tap into an infinite stratum of wisdom, an intelligent energy that governs all creation, including the very mechanics of money. This is not mere idleness or passive inaction. On the contrary, it is a state of heightened receptivity, a profound opening where creative financial solutions, unexpected opportunities, and breakthrough business ideas emerge organically, like flowers silently unfurling at their own perfect moment without any need for forceful urging. In the realm of quantum physics, it is known that elementary particles exist in multiple potential states simultaneously until they are observed, a phenomenon that astonishingly mirrors the spiritual truth that myriad financial possibilities remain fluid in potential form until our consciousness engages with them through focused attention and inner state. The constant churning of your mind, the relentless search for solutions in a state of tension, can actually collapse these infinite possibilities into limited outcomes, often outcomes that reflect your underlying fears and sense of lack. Charles, once a highly successful investment strategist, discovered this wisdom through his own challenging journey. He had always believed that the best investment decisions stemmed from relentless data analysis, from monitoring the markets 24/7, and from decisive action. However, after a prolonged period of losses, when every strategy seemed to fail, he experienced a turning point. In a moment of utter depletion, he decided to pause everything, dedicating time each day to sit in silent meditation, not trying to find answers, but simply to listen. It was in that stillness, between the quiet gaps in his stream of thoughts, that profound market insights and subtle perceptions of hidden opportunities began to surface, as if they had always been there, merely awaiting his inner calm to be heard. This principle transcends the fields of investment or art. It permeates every aspect of existence, including how we attract and manage money. The universe often speaks to us in whispers, not in resounding shouts. Its guidance, its messages of opportunity or warning, do not arrive in the whirlwind of frenetic activity, but emerge in moments of quiet receptivity, when our minds are still. When you learn to quiet your mind, you naturally attune yourself to the rhythm of creation itself and the flow of abundance. To access this extraordinary transformative power of stillness, in attracting money, engage in this ancient ritual. Each day, endeavor to create a sacred space of silence for yourself. Find a quiet place where you will not be disturbed. Sit comfortably, relax your body, and allow your breath to find its natural rhythm. Do not try to empty your mind or suppress thoughts. Simply observe your thoughts drifting by without judgment or engagement, much like watching clouds float across a blue sky. Begin with 5 minutes each day, and gradually extend this period as you become more comfortable with the stillness. In these precious quiet moments, hold your financial aspirations gently in your awareness, not as desperate pleas or goals to be achieved at all costs, but as precious seeds sown into the fertile ground of the universe. Trust that in this stillness you become a potent magnet, drawing divine inspiration, million-dollar ideas, unexpected financial solutions, and the effortless manifestation of prosperity. Remember, the most powerful forces in the universe, like gravity, electromagnetism, operate in complete silence. Your own financial power emerges not just from what you do, but largely from who you become, from the inner state you cultivate in those sacred moments of stillness. Chapter 5. Shedding the False Financial Self to Uncover True Wealth. In a city that throbbed with relentless motion, where the pressure to succeed and the aspiration for riches permeated every breath, there lived a man named Robert. Each morning he stood before the large mirror in his study, a space adorned with countless wealth-building books, positive money affirmations plastered on every available surface, and an exhaustive list of millionaire habits he was determined to cultivate. He meticulously scrutinized himself, searching for flaws in his financial thinking that needed fixing, qualities of successful people that needed enhancing, aspects of himself that needed improving to become worthy of wealth. Yet with a painful irony, with every new financial management technique he mastered, every prosperity habit he formed, every wealth affirmation repeated thousands of times, he felt an ever-deepening emptiness within, and his grand financial goals remained like a distant horizon. Surely you too have walked this path, or at least glimpsed its shadow, the unending journey of self-improvement aimed at achieving financial success. A journey that paradoxically can lead you further away from your true, inherently abundant and powerful nature. Ancient wisdom traditions across the globe speak of a profound truth. Your relentless pursuit to become better, to be more deserving of money, is the very veil that obscures the innate perfection and sufficiency that already resides within you. The universe operates through the principle of wholeness, not fragmentation. When you continually seek to improve yourself to attract money, you are unconsciously affirming to yourself and to the universe that your current self is incomplete, that you are somehow broken, that you are lacking something essential to be wealthy. This underlying belief, though unspoken, becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, creating a cycle of external wealth-seeking that can never be truly satisfied. True financial transformation, the unlocking of the authentic flow of prosperity, occurs not through addition, adding more knowledge, more skills, more connections, but strangely enough, often through subtraction. It is not about trying to become some idealized wealthy persona you admire, but about courageously stripping away the layers of false identification, the limiting beliefs about money and self that have hidden your true, already abundant nature. Just as a master sculptor creates a masterpiece not by adding clay, but by patiently chipping away, removing the superfluous stone to reveal the beauty hidden within your path to financial power and freedom lies in releasing what is not truly you, the fears, the insecurities, the ingrained prejudices about money. Eleanor, a talented business consultant, spent years trying to embody the successful businesswoman archetype she thought society and affluent clients expected. She studied countless sales techniques, mimicked the demeanor of industry celebrities, and tried to force herself into a perfect mold, always appearing strong and in control. However, the real breakthrough in her career and finances came only when she grew weary and decided to stop trying to be anyone other than herself. When she let go of that carefully constructed, pressure-filled identity, when she dared to express her unique, even somewhat unconventional ideas, when she operated from passion and authenticity, instead of the fear of judgment, she discovered a voice, a distinct value that had always existed within her, pure, authentic, and utterly unique. It was then that ideal clients and significant financial opportunities began to find their way to her naturally. This truth extends beyond the realms of art or business. It permeates every dimension of life, especially our relationship with money. The more you try to fix yourself to become better at making money, the more you reinforce the illusion that you are inherently bad at it. The more you try to become a wealthy person, according to some external template, the further you drift from your true self, where your unique gifts and your individual path to prosperity reside. To access the authentic financial power lying dormant within you, practice this ancient ritual of identity release. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Think of all the labels you have attached to yourself concerning money and success. Someone who always struggles financially, not good at business. Someone who has to work incredibly hard for money, not smart enough to be rich. Afraid of financial failure. Now, one by one, imagine gently peeling those labels off yourself and letting them dissolve like morning mist in the sunlight. Feel the lightness, the liberation that accompanies each release of an old identification. Observe as each financial role you've ever worn falls away, the high achiever who must always prove themselves, the relentless striver, the seeker of financial validation, the one carrying a sense of lack, the one feeling incomplete without wealth. Do not rush to fill the space that has been created. Simply rest in the quiet awareness that remains when all those labels have vanished. In this space of pure being, you will discover an astonishing truth. The sufficiency, worthiness, and potential for prosperity you have been seeking were present all along within you. Your true financial power lies not in trying to become someone to have money, but in your authentic being, not in adding strategies, but in releasing limiting beliefs, not in fixing imagined flaws, but in recognizing the perfection and wholeness that has always been your natural state, just waiting to be discovered and expressed. Chapter 6. The Power of the Observer in Crafting Prosperity. Within the hallowed halls of a prestigious quantum physics research institute, Professor Charles often found himself in deep contemplation at his microscope, observing the subatomic world. Day after day, he witnessed something extraordinary, a phenomenon that challenged all conventional understanding. His very act of observation, His conscious attention seemed to alter the behavior of those fundamental particles. This discovery not only shook the foundations of his scientific understanding, but also led him to an ancient truth, a secret that mystics and sages had quietly taught for millennia. The consciousness of the observer has the power to shape reality. Now you stand at the threshold of this same profound discovery, not in a laboratory with quantum particles, but right within the laboratory of your own life, particularly in your financial domain. Just as Professor Charles found that observation changes reality, at the most microscopic level, you too possess a similar transformative power through your faculty of awareness. When you learn to take a step back to become the silent witness to your thoughts and emotions about money, instead of being swept away, entangled, and identified with them, you initiate a profound shift in your financial reality. The universe, in its subtle responsiveness, reacts not just to what you think about money, but more importantly to your relationship with those thoughts. When you fully merge with or identify with a negative financial thought pattern, for instance, "I'll never have enough money," "making money is incredibly hard," or "I don't deserve to be wealthy," you, in essence, become that pattern and your reality will mirror it. But when you create a space, a subtle distance between yourself and those thoughts, you activate your latent power as the observer, the pure, unchanging consciousness behind all fleeting experiences. This principle is not confined to complex equations of quantum physics. Your thoughts about money are moving currents of energy waves of possibility until they are observed and solidified by your conscious attention. By learning to observe them with a degree of detachment, with a non-judgmental attitude, you gain the ability to collapse these potential waves into a financial reality that you consciously choose, rather than being passively swept along by old patterns. This is not mere theory. It is the practical application of both modern scientific principles and timeless spiritual wisdom in the creation of prosperity. Brenda, a marketing consultant, discovered this truth during the darkest hours of her financial life. Consumed by incessant anxieties about debt, the fear of lack, and the pressure to succeed, she was perpetually dominated by negative emotional storms related to money. Every financial decision she made was tinged with fear. Then, through a chance encounter with this teaching, she learned the art of witnessing. Instead of saying and feeling, "I am broke," or "I am a financial failure," she learned to objectively observe and acknowledge there is a thought about being broke present, or there is a feeling of anxiety about money arising. This subtle shift in approach created precious space between her true self and the temporary weather pattern of her negative financial thoughts and emotions. In that space, she found freedom and a newfound strength. As Brenda mastered this practice of detached observation, her financial reality began to transform miraculously. The negative emotions about money that once overwhelmed her became like clouds drifting across the vast sky of her awareness. She discovered that she was not her thoughts of lack, not her fears about her financial future, but the eternal witness, the knowing space for all these transient phenomena. From this position of the observer, she began to make wiser financial decisions, attract new opportunities, and gradually rebuild her financial stability. To access this extraordinary power of the observer in attracting money, practice this ancient yet incredibly effective technique. When a negative thought or emotion about finances arises, for instance, a fear of not having enough to pay a bill, a self-deprecating thought about your earning ability, do not try to fight it, suppress it, or immediately try to change it. Instead, gently step back into the position of the witness. Notice the thought or feeling as if you were watching it on a movie screen. Silently say to yourself, "I am observing the thought, I'll never get out of debt," rather than "I'll never get out of debt," and that's the truth. Feel the subtle space that opens up between your awareness and the thought or emotion itself. Relax and rest in that space. Notice how the thought or emotion begins to lose its power and its grip when you no longer identify with it, when you no longer feed it with your fear or unconditional belief. This is the power of detached observation, the same power that alters reality at the quantum level, now working through your consciousness to transform your financial life, paving the way for the natural flow of prosperity to find you. Chapter 7, the secret force that draws money towards you. In a bustling weekend market alive with the throng of passers-by, Arthur, a ceramic artist, stood quietly behind the stall displaying his heartfelt creations. For many years he had strived relentlessly, taking sales skills courses, memorizing countless pitches and attempting to perfect his product presentation down to the smallest detail. He believed that meticulous preparation and unceasing effort would inevitably bring sales. However, financial success remained like an elusive phantom inexplicably evading him. Each market day became an exhausting performance, a tense battle to persuade every potential customer, and at day's end he often felt depleted with meager returns, until one morning something unexpected occurred. Arthur awoke with a mild, cold feeling, a bit weary, his voice somewhat hoarse. He knew he lacked the energy to maintain his usual enthusiastic, high-pressure sales style. With a sense of surrender, he simply stood quietly behind his stall, arranging his pottery neatly and offering genuine warm smiles to anyone who happened to meet his gaze. He didn't try to sell, he didn't attempt to convince. To his utter astonishment, more people stopped at his stall than ever before. No longer feeling the pressure of his aggressive sales tactics, customers seemed drawn by his authentic presence, by the peaceful aura emanating from him. They lingered longer, asked curious questions about his creative process, and ultimately purchased far more pieces than on the days he had tried to sell at all costs. The flow of money came to him gently, almost without effort. This principle, this secret force, governs every aspect of life, especially in attracting prosperity. The law of reversed effort reveals that the more desperately you pursue something, the more life and money tends to resist. When you release the need to make things happen, when you relinquish control and self-imposed pressure, you naturally align yourself with the powerful and wise energy current of the universe. This is not passive resignation or an abandonment of your financial goals. On the contrary, it is an active allowing, a refined state of awareness, a complete openness poised to draw your financial aspirations towards you rather than you arduously chasing after them. Think of water. When you try to clutch it tightly in your palm, it slips through your fingers. But when you open your hand, relax, and receive, water will naturally collect there. This same principle applies to reaping success, financial sufficiency, and even beautiful relationships. The universe responds not just to your external efforts, it reacts more powerfully to your state of being, to your vibrational frequency. Daniel, a freelance software developer, only truly absorbed this truth after many long years of seeking lucrative projects and financial stability. He had attended every business networking event, sent out hundreds of portfolios, and tried to cultivate an image of the perfect expert. He worked ceaselessly, pursuing every potential lead, yet the large contracts, the steady income streams, remained elusive. It wasn't until utterly exhausted and somewhat disillusioned he decided to stop the hunt. He dedicated time to genuinely enjoyable small projects, focusing on creating real value for a few cherished clients, no longer placing such heavy emphasis on having to make a lot of money. It was in that shift, in that inner peace and focus on the quality of his work, rather than the quantity of contracts, that referrals began to arrive. Larger, more interesting projects started to find him. No longer radiating the energy of desperate seeking, he had become findable by good financial opportunities. Now is the time for you to directly experience this miraculous truth in attracting money. For the next 7 days, consciously practice the art of non-pursuit. Choose a specific financial area in your life where you feel you have been pushing hard, perhaps even with tension, to achieve a desired result. It could be finding new clients, trying to hit a sales target, seeking an investment opportunity, or even desiring a bonus. Instead of trying to make things happen at all costs, shift into a state of active allowing. Begin each morning by clearly acknowledging your financial aspirations, writing them down if you wish. Then consciously release the need to chase them with anxiety or force. Tell the universe that you trust in its perfect arrangement and timing. Throughout the day, whenever you notice yourself tending to force worry excessively or pursue a financial outcome with tension, gently remind yourself to return to that state of ready awareness, that state of open receptivity. Notice how different this feels compared to your usual pressure-filled approach. Pay attention to what begins to happen. Synchronicities, unexpected opportunities, new ideas when you stop trying to make all financial matters happen according to your will, and instead allow them to unfold naturally as you act from a place of peace and trust. Remember, this is not about abandoning your financial aspirations. It's about aligning yourself with a natural law, a secret force that governs all sustainable and effortless achievement. Just as Arthur discovered in selling his pottery and Daniel in attracting his ideal projects, the moment you cease desperate pursuit is often the very moment the financial opportunities you desire begin to find their way to you. Chapter 8. The Paradox of Non-Desiring Yet Receiving All Abundance. Within the venerable corridors of a prestigious economics academy, Professor Howard clutched business plans and market analyses with slightly trembling hands. For 15 years, he had relentlessly pursued resounding financial success, craving recognition from investors and industry peers. He had launched project after project, invested in countless opportunities, all with an underlying desperation to be acknowledged as a financial master. Each morning he awoke with a gnawing emptiness, repeatedly checking his investment portfolio, refreshing his email inbox in hopes of a lucrative collaboration offer, a sign that his efforts would finally be rewarded with the wealth he so deeply yearned for. Surely you too have tasted this sensation, the craving for a specific financial outcome, a large sum of money, a successful deal, a promotion, consuming your every thought, preventing you from truly appreciating what you have in the present moment, leaving you in a perpetual state of lack. Like Professor Howard, you may have discovered that this intense desire, this burning yearning for something, becomes an invisible prison, its walls constructed from your own incessant wanting. Ancient masters and sages spoke of this truth thousands of years ago: attachment. The clinging to desire is the root of all suffering and lack. However, they did not mean that you should renounce all dreams of a more abundant life. Rather, they taught that true manifestation, sustainable prosperity, occurs in a subtle space, a delicate balance between wanting, having a clear intention, and letting go, releasing desperate craving and the fear of not achieving. When Professor Howard, in a moment of collapse after a major investment failure, finally touched this wisdom, everything in his life changed. One evening, after receiving yet more discouraging financial news, he felt an overwhelming weariness. He gathered all his pending business plans, his complex analytical charts, and stored them away in a deep drawer, then walked out of his office. For the first time in years, he allowed himself to simply exist, unburdened by the need to prove his worth through financial figures. He began to dedicate time to forgotten hobbies, sharing his knowledge with younger individuals, not to seek new business opportunities, but for the pure joy of giving. Within a few months, something extraordinary happened. An old research project of his, seemingly forgotten, suddenly received attention from a major investment fund. Colleagues began to seek him out for his profound advice, not because he was trying to impress, but because of the newfound peace and wisdom that radiated from him. Collaborative opportunities, investment offers started to find their way to him naturally, without any chasing on his part. The very financial success he had once craved so intensely now flowed to him with ease, not because he had suddenly changed his external actions, but more importantly, because he had transformed his inner energy from an energy of lack and desperate craving to an energy of sufficiency and allowing. This principle operates through a subtle mechanism of consciousness and universal energy. When you intensely crave something, especially money, with attachment and fear, you are inadvertently emitting a frequency of lack to the universe. This frequency ironically tends to repel the very things you desire. But when you release that craving, not abandoning the intention but relinquishing the attachment and fear, while still maintaining a clear intention for the prosperity you aim for, you step into a magnetic state of allowing. You become an attractive magnet rather than a weary hunter. To shift from a state of craving to a state of receiving in attracting money, practice this ancient ritual of surrender. Each evening before sleep, sit in silence and think of your deepest financial desires. It could be a life of financial freedom, the ability to provide for your family, or the means to carry out charitable projects. Feel them fully, allowing yourself to experience that desire purely without the accompanying fear or sense of lack. Then imagine gathering all these desires into a brilliant ball of light right in your heart. Observe this ball growing brighter, more radiant with each breath. Now envision yourself opening your heart and gently releasing this ball of light into the vast universe with an unwavering faith that what is truly meant for you, the financial blessings aligned with your growth, will return to you at the perfect time and in the most beautiful way. As you practice this release daily, notice how your relationship with your financial desires transforms. Like Professor Howard, you might be surprised to find that the very opportunities, the very streams of money you once tirelessly pursued now begin to find their way to you. This is no random coincidence. It is the natural operation of universal law. When you loosen the grip of desperate craving, you create the space to receive miracles. Chapter 9. Strenuous effort, the invisible barrier on your financial path. In the pre-dawn stillness of an office, Jessica, a tech startup founder, sat motionless before her computer screen. Her eyes were hollowed from countless sleepless nights, her mind a vortex of competitive strategies, fundraising plans, and the crushing pressure to navigate her company through turbulent times. For years, she had driven herself and her team beyond all conceivable limits, working to the point of exhaustion, dissecting every minute market fluctuation, attempting to control every conceivable factor. Yet despite these relentless and often excruciatingly tense efforts, the financial breakthrough, the influx of investment capital she so desperately craved, remained like a shimmering mirage, forever elusive. Opportunities seemed to consistently slip through her fingers, and every small step forward was paid for with mounting fatigue and overwhelming pressure. Surely you can recognize this pattern in your own financial journey, or in that of those around you, the ingrained belief that success, particularly monetary success, demands unceasing struggle, relentless exertion, and that any slackening of this intense effort equates to failure. However, concealed within the ancient scrolls of sages and the modern discoveries of peak performance psychology lies a different truth, a less trodden path. True mastery and genuine success emerge not from brute force or coercion, but are birthed from an alignment with the natural flow of life, energy, and opportunity. When Jessica, in a moment bordering on collapse from sheer exhaustion and a sense of utter futility, finally encountered this wisdom, the way she operated her business and attracted resources transformed astonishingly. Instead of attempting to force every decision, micromanage every employee, or aggressively pursue every investor, she began to cultivate the art of deeper listening, listening to the market, listening to her team, and most importantly, listening to her own intuition and innate wisdom. Instead of overthinking and paralyzing herself with analysis at every turn, she started to trust more in the experience and knowledge accumulated over her years of work, allowing creative solutions to arise organically. In this state of allowing and trust, her decisions became clearer, her actions more fluid, effortless, and precise. Meetings with investors became more authentic and engaging, no longer fraught, tense performances. The universe, in its wondrous workings, operates through this paradox. The more you align with its current, the less you resist its natural laws, the more powerfully and effectively its energy moves through you. Just as water always finds the most natural path to flow from high mountains to the vast sea, financial success and the current of money will also find their way to you most freely and abundantly when you cease resisting it with tension, fear, and forced effort. This truth echoes through every profound spiritual tradition. Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching speaks of Wu Wei, doing without doing, or effortless action. The ancient Indian Bhagavad Gita teaches karma yoga, the art of action, without attachment to the outcome. And even modern sports and business psychology confirm that peak performance and the most brilliant decisions often occur in a state of relaxed awareness, a comfortable focus not from forced effort and tension. Jessica discovered that attracting investment capital and growing her company came not from blindly trying harder, but sometimes from wisely trying less, that is, reducing the interference of an anxious, controlling ego. By releasing the need to control every aspect of her business, she accessed a deeper stratum of wisdom within herself, a wisdom that knew precisely when to act, what to say, and which direction to take. To access this state of effortless mastery and naturally attract prosperity, practice the following flow state meditation. Sit comfortably in a quiet place and close your eyes. Allow your breath to occur naturally, letting each breath flow gently in and out, without any effort or control on your part. Notice how perfectly your body breathes on its own, without any forcing. Extend this awareness of ease to your entire being. Feel the subtle energy, the life force flowing through you, requiring no effort from you. Simply observe this flow for a few minutes, letting go of any urge to control or direct it. When you open your eyes, try to carry this awareness of effortless being into your daily financial activities and work. This practice will gradually reveal a profound truth to you. You are not the solitary doer who must carry the weight of everything, but rather a vessel, a conduit through which the wisdom and abundance of the universe can flow. As you align with this current, everything related to money and success seems to become easier, not because you have stopped acting, but because you have stopped interfering with fear and strenuous effort. Like water finding its natural course down a mountainside or a leaf gracefully carried by the wind, you become one with the sacred flow of life, which includes the flow of money. Your actions will arise naturally from a deeper intelligence, guided by the same wisdom that orchestrates the dance of the planets and the blossoming of myriad flowers. In this state of alignment, you discover that the true power to attract prosperity comes not from imposing your will upon the world, but from allowing yourself to be moved and guided by the infinite intelligence that already exists within and around you. Chapter 10. The First Step to Financial Freedom. The Art of Radical Letting Go. In the twilight of a particular day, amidst the relentless fluctuations of the global financial markets, a seasoned investor named Liam found himself standing on a precarious metaphorical bridge. In his hands were not literal gold and jewels, but his entire meticulously constructed investment portfolio, his detailed financial plans, and also his invisible fears of loss. The market was navigating a challenging phase, and every piece of news, every minor shift, seemed to make the bridge beneath his feet tremble. With each step into his investment career these days, his grip tightened on his treasures, defensive strategies, stop-loss decisions, efforts to control, that were becoming suffocating, his knuckles white from the fear of losing everything he had built. Like Liam, perhaps you too are clinging tightly to something you consider most precious in your financial life. It could be a stable job that no longer inspires passion, savings you dare not touch for fear of the future, or a rigid notion of where and how money must come. However, in this very moment you stand at the threshold of an incredibly powerful truth, a verity that has transformed the lives of countless individuals throughout the ages, paving their way to unexpected freedom and prosperity. As Liam tried to inch his way through this volatile market period, his fear and attempts at control became heavier, transforming his assets and strategies into burdens that made every investment decision fraught with risk and tension. Then an ancient teaching, a timeless wisdom wafted through his mind like a gentle breeze during a rare moment of quiet. Only by opening your hand can you truly save yourself and what is genuinely precious. In that instant, Liam faced an ultimate choice, a choice not between stocks or bonds, but between two inner states: to continue clinging to old methods and fear, risking the loss of his peace of mind and possibly even greater opportunities, or to courageously let go of absolute control, release the fear of loss, and discover a greater power awaiting him. When he finally loosened his grip, not by blindly selling off assets, but by releasing his attachment to a specific outcome, letting go of the fear and the need to control everything, something miraculous happened. The burden in his mind lightened, his decisions became clearer and calmer, and he seemed to cross the difficult period more safely with a newfound serenity. And then, to his astonishment, he found that new opportunities, unexpected financial flows, creative solutions that he couldn't see before because they were obscured by fear, began to appear as if they had been carried by the wind of change and perfectly arranged on the other side of the chaos. This ancient wisdom reveals a profound paradox of true power. In attracting money, letting go is not failure. It is not surrender in the sense of giving up. It is the very gateway to mastery, freedom, and authentic prosperity. When you release your desperate grip on a specific financial outcome, when you stop trying to control every variable, you naturally align yourself with the infinite intelligence of the universe. This force, far greater than your small individual will, has the capacity to orchestrate possibilities, bringing opportunities and resources far beyond your limited imagination. The universe, in its financial currents, operates through trust, not control. Just as water always finds its way around obstacles naturally, the flow of money and opportunity will also find perfect pathways to you when they are not obstructed by the walls of your fear and control. Your role is not to force the money to flow according to your will, but to allow it to flow, not to rigidly direct, but to attune to the larger rhythms of creation and value exchange. A young entrepreneur named Kai, after years of struggle, found himself lost in a vast financial desert. His ideas depleted, his capital dwindling. For months he had battled against this harsh environment, desperately trying to find a way out with old strategies and relentless effort. It was only when, in a moment of complete surrender, no longer trying to do anything, but simply listening and observing, that he began to notice the subtle signs he had previously overlooked: an unmet market. Need a casual piece of advice from a friend, a hidden skill of his own. These signs, like guiding stars, led him to an oasis, a new business model, an unexpected collaborative opportunity, bringing a financial flow he once thought impossible. Now, in this very moment, practice this radical letting go in your own financial life. If possible, stand in an open space or simply sit comfortably with your arms raised, palms facing upward towards the sky. Close your eyes and imagine everything related to money that you have been struggling to control or achieve. Debts, fears of lack, attachment to a specific job or income level, financial plans detailed to the point of suffocation. Feel the weight of these desires, these fears, these attachments pressing down on your shoulders, on your mind. Then slowly, with each exhale, begin to release them, one by one, into the infinite space above you. Allow your hands to gradually open, letting every concern, every worry about money drift away like gentle leaves on the wind of surrender. Feel the lightness, the liberation spreading through you with each release. Hold this posture of complete letting go, even if only for a few minutes, until you experience a profound shift in your energy from grasping to receiving, from forcing to allowing. This practice may stir up hidden fears. Our ego often resists letting go, especially when it concerns money and security. But remember, true power, authentic financial freedom awaits you on the other side of surrender. Just as Liam discovered newfound abundance by releasing his fear, and Kai found financial direction through alignment, you too will discover a liberating truth. The prosperity, security, and freedom you seek have actually been seeking you all along. The first step to meeting it is the courage to let go. Part 2. Harnessing the Laws to Unlock Limitless Abundance. Chapter 11. Effortless Financial Manifestation, When Passion Leads Prosperity. During the late hours in a small financial consulting office, Eleanor often felt an invisible pressure. Surrounding her were stacks of documents on marketing strategies, competitor analyses, and lists of potential clients she felt she had to conquer. For years, she had pursued the cultivation of a high-end clientele with the intensity of a soldier on a battlefield. She attended every networking event, painstakingly perfected complex presentations, and even mimicked the demeanor of consultants she deemed more successful. However, these efforts typically yielded modest results and a pervasive sense of fatigue, as if she were constantly trying to push a massive boulder uphill. Her consulting ideas, inherently sharp, seemed to grow arid under the pressure to close the deal. Surely you can recognize this pattern in your own financial journey. The exhausting pursuit of external validation, be it clients, sales figures, or market recognition, that depletes your very own creative energy and joy in your work. Yet hidden deep within this seemingly endless struggle lies a sacred truth, a secret that has guided masters of manifestation and truly successful individuals throughout the ages. When Eleanor, in a moment of near exhaustion and on the verge of giving up, finally decided to let go of these forced methods, something extraordinary happened. She stopped chasing success templates and began to focus on what truly made her heart sing, her passion for sharing financial knowledge in an authentic and understandable way. She started a small blog sharing stories and lessons from her own experience, not with the immediate goal of finding clients, but simply for the joy of offering value. No longer burdened by the pressure to sell or prove, her words and ideas flowed like a clear stream, untainted by doubt or the desire for control. Within a few months, these writings, born from freedom and passion rather than compulsion, naturally attracted the attention of ideal clients, individuals who genuinely appreciated her sincerity and depth of knowledge. They sought her out not because of flashy advertisements, but because of the authentic power radiating from her and her work. This reflects a universal principle of effortless creation, applicable even to attracting money. Ancient mystics understood that all manifestation, whether an artwork or an abundant financial flow, begins in the invisible realm of energy, from the vibration of intention and emotion. Modern quantum physics is now gradually confirming what sages have always known. Our observation-focused consciousness and inner state possess the power to shape reality. When you create work or conduct business from a place of alignment, joy, and authenticity, rather than from strenuous effort and fear, you tap into the same boundless creative force that brings forth flowers from seeds and forms stars from cosmic dust. The journey of Marcus, a young inventor with a unique product idea, also mirrors this wisdom. For years, he had crafted countless flawless business plans, attended innumerable investor pitch events, and tirelessly tried to convince every potential investor. He lived in constant anxiety about lack of capital and desperate for external validation. However, financial success and the necessary support remained elusive until he made a radical shift in his approach. Instead of continuing to hunt for investors, Marcus decided to begin living as if his project had already achieved a certain scale of success. He saved his meager capital to create a few product prototypes of the highest possible quality. He decorated his small workspace like an inspiring workshop. He shared his vision and passion with a small community of like-minded individuals, not to solicit funds, but to spread joy and receive feedback. He carried within him the confidence and enthusiasm of someone already living their dream, even if external reality hadn't fully reflected it yet. Within a few weeks, an unexpected encounter through a friend in that small community led him to an angel investor who not only saw the product's potential, but was also drawn to the very energy and belief radiating from Marcus. The practice of letting go to manifest invites you to step into this state of aligned creation and attract finances with ease. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed. Close your eyes and allow your desired financial reality, a thriving business, a passive income stream, a life of financial freedom to arise naturally in your mind. Unlike traditional visualization with forced effort or controlling every detail, instead, let the images, feelings, and ideas emerge gently, as if you are watching an enjoyable movie unfold before you. Feel the joy, excitement, and natural peace of these images without trying to grasp or analyze them. Notice how your body relaxes as you release the need to make anything happen immediately. If thoughts about how to achieve it or when it will arrive surface, simply observe them gently drifting by like clouds in the sky without attachment or judgment. Your role in this practice is not to direct or control the universe, but to align yourself with its infinite creative power to become a channel for the flow of prosperity. Just as Eleanor discovered her natural magnetism through authenticity and passion, and Marcus manifested his dream by being a successful founder rather than just seeking success, you too will find that creativity, financial opportunities, and the flow of money will come more naturally and easily when you step out of the way of your own forced effort and doubt. Chapter 12. The Power of Belief, Transcending All Forced Financial Efforts. In a bustling yet challenging neighborhood of a large city, Maria, a dedicated community activist, clutched project funding proposals like a warrior grasping her weapon. Each morning she armed herself with eloquent presentations, detailed statistics, and relentless lobbying strategies, all weapons in her endless battle to secure funding for a youth center she had long dreamed of. However, despite her unceasing efforts, burning enthusiasm, and long sleepless nights, the doors to major funding remained stubbornly closed or opened only a crack, leaving her at times exhausted and doubtful. Through your own struggles on the financial path, perhaps you too recognize this familiar pattern, the attempt to force your way forward, believing that iron will and relentless effort can bend reality to your desires. But the universe, in its infinite wisdom, holds a gentler truth, a less arduous path. One afternoon at a community event, Maria happened to observe Samuel, who ran a small arts program but always received steady support and seemed to raise funds with little apparent effort. Where Maria would typically launch into a passionate, data-filled presentation, trying to convince each potential donor, Samuel simply listened intently to those around him, smiled, and shared about his work with a quiet but incredibly potent certainty and unwavering inner belief. Donors and supporters seemed to find him. Resources appeared to gather around his project like flowers naturally blooming in a vibrant spring. What was his secret? It was an unshakable inner knowing, a steadfast conviction that every interaction, every sharing would unfold perfectly, and that whatever was needed for his meaningful work would always find its way. This reflects an eternal truth, a law governing the flow of energy and manifestation, including money. Belief shapes reality more powerfully than any forceful action. Ancient texts worldwide speak of faith that can move mountains, while modern neuroscience is gradually discovering how our beliefs can actually reshape neural pathways, influencing our perception and behavior. When you truly believe in a positive financial outcome, when you know from your depths that you are worthy and capable of achieving prosperity, your energy automatically shifts from a state of forcing and coercing to one of allowing and open receptivity. It is this energetic transformation that opens the invisible channels through which abundance, opportunities, and monetary flow can naturally reach you. The journey of David, a freelance graphic designer, also illuminates this principle. After a rather precarious start to his career, David became obsessed with money worries. He tried to control every penny spent, applied every savings hack he read about, and lived in a constant state of tension about whether he'd have enough for the next month. He worked day and night, taking on projects he didn't truly love, simply due to financial pressure. However, his situation hardly improved, and his creativity seemed stifled by fear. Everything began to change when David chanced upon a talk about the power of mindset and belief in creating wealth. Instead of continuing to battle lack by tightening and controlling, he started to learn to trust in the true value his designs brought to clients, to trust in the infinite intelligence of the universe, always ready to support those who dare to live and work from passion and sincerity. Each morning, instead of anxiously checking his bank account, he spent a few minutes envisioning the wonderful projects he wanted to create, feeling the joy and sufficiency of doing work he loved and being well compensated. He stopped seeking external approval by underpricing his services and began to believe in his natural ability to attract ideal clients. Within a few months, unexpected changes started to occur. Collaboration offers from larger clients, exciting projects with higher remuneration began to find him not through struggle or begging, but through a natural resonance with his newfound belief and energy. To activate this same power of belief within you, to attract the financial flow you desire, find a quiet space and sit in a comfortable posture. Close your eyes and think of a specific financial goal that you have been trying to force into existence. Perhaps a certain income level, an investment opportunity, or freedom from debt. Feel the tension, the resistance that this struggle has created in your body and mind. Now imagine completely releasing all this forced effort, as if you are gently setting down a burden you've carried for too long. Allow your breath to become deeper, more even as you consciously shift into a state of absolute trust, an inner knowing that what you seek, the prosperity you aim for, is already on its way to you, or that something even better is being orchestrated by the universe. There is nothing to prove, nothing to rush, nothing to make happen at all costs. Trust that the wisdom of the universe far exceeds your limited plans and strategies. Hold this state of deep trust for a few minutes, allowing any doubts or fears to pass through your mind like clouds drifting across the sky, without attachment, without judgment. When thoughts of how it will happen or when it will arise, simply return gently to this feeling of complete trust, like a sailor trusting the lighthouse to guide them through the open sea. Practice this surrender of forced effort and cultivation of belief daily. Then you will begin to observe with surprise and delight how life and your financial flow begin to respond not to your tense efforts, but to your steadfast trust and your own allowing. Chapter 13, Trusting in the Cosmic Flow, the Path to Unexpected Financial Freedom. On a small organic farm nestled amidst verdant hills, Isabel spent much of her time not just tending to her crops, but also battling spreadsheets dense with figures. She meticulously planned every garden bed, every harvest cycle, every seed expense, every revenue forecast from the weekend farmers markets. Her desk drawer was filled with contingency plans for contingency plans. Every potential bad weather scenario, every market price fluctuation, she attempted to map out in exhaustive detail in an effort to control the farm's financial future. However, life seemed to take a mischievous delight in upending her carefully woven designs. An unexpected hailstorm, a new type of pest, or a sudden shift in consumer tastes would frequently render her perfect financial plans meaningless, leaving her with stress and profits that barely covered costs. Perhaps you recognize this pattern within yourself, in your approach to money and your financial future, the endless calculations, the constant preparation for every conceivable worst-case scenario, an illusion that through perfect planning you can control what is inherently uncontrollable. But the wisdom of the universe whispers of another way, a gentler path. Throughout the ages, the greatest minds, from scientists to enlightened beings, have understood that true certainty is often found at the very heart of uncertainty. Einstein spoke of the role of sacred mystery as the cradle of true science and art. The Buddha taught that peace comes not from trying to secure a completely controlled future, but from our letting go of the grip, the attachment to what must happen according to our will. These are not mere philosophical musings for amusement. They are profound insights into the very nature of reality, including our financial reality. When Isabel, after a particularly difficult season that bankrupted most of her plans, finally exhausted herself from trying to control everything, something extraordinary happened. In that near desperate surrender, she discovered a deeper current, a wisdom of nature silently carrying her forward, a flow far more intelligent than her cautious financial strategies and cultivation plans. She began to listen more to her land planting crops that she felt were right for the soil and climate, rather than relying solely on pure profit analysis. She opened a small farm stand with a few seasonal products, even experimenting with a pay-what-you-feel model for some surplus vegetables, an act born from trust in her community and the flow of giving and receiving. Her life and work began to flow with an ease she had never known. Unexpected opportunities arose. Local restaurants sought out her diverse organic produce. Volunteers arrived to help during harvest season, things she could never have planned or predicted. Money began to come to her more steadily from sources she hadn't anticipated. This also mirrors the journey of Raj, a talented software engineer who had spent years meticulously charting his career path to achieve a senior executive position with a six-figure salary at a top tech corporation. He had a detailed 5-year, 10-year roadmap, lists of target company skills to acquire and connections to build. He strategically attended networking events, applying only for positions that fit his strict criteria. However, he continually faced rejection or felt empty and unfulfilled in jobs that looked good on paper but didn't touch his true passion. Raj's turning point came one weekend when he felt too weary and disheartened from his planned job hunt. He decided to put everything aside and happened to attend a small gathering of green technology enthusiasts, a field outside his career plan, but one that genuinely intrigued him. There, with no agenda or pressure, simply being present and listening, he had an inspiring conversation with the founder of a small but innovative startup in renewable energy. The position they later offered him wasn't on his list. The starting salary might have been slightly lower than his initial plan, but it ignited a fire of passion within him and offered the chance to make a truly meaningful impact, along with potentially significant stock options. His career and financial future took a completely unexpected turn, more fulfilling and ultimately more prosperous, all because he dared to let go of his rigid plan and trust in a natural connection, a call from his heart. To embrace this wisdom and apply it to your own financial life, try dedicating a full day to practicing radical trust in the universe. Begin your morning by declaring that today is a no-detailed financial planning day. Let go of the packed schedule of sales calls, the expectations of how many deals must be closed, or the need to excessively control every incoming and outgoing penny. Move through each moment of the day, responding flexibly only to what is directly in front of you, to the actual opportunities or demands that arise. When the urge to plan to control a financial outcome or to worry about the future arises, and it surely will, simply observe it gently without immediately acting on it. Feel the discomfort, if any, of not knowing for sure. and simply be present with that feeling, breathing deeply. Notice how life and financial matters, however small, continue to flow and resolve themselves even without your meticulous, detailed orchestration. As you navigate this day of trust, pay attention to how small financial solutions might naturally appear, how support or connections might easily form, and how wisdom or clarity might emerge from your simple presence and trust. This practice is not about abandoning your financial responsibilities. It's about accessing a deeper intelligence, a cosmic wisdom that operates beyond the limited perspectives and plans of your rational mind, paving the way for an easier and more unexpected flow of prosperity. Chapter 14. Silence Speaks, where financial wisdom awakens amidst the skyscrapers of a leading biotech hub. Dr. Evelyn Hayes often sat silently amidst myriad complex spreadsheets, detailed market analyses, and multi-layered business plans. Her mind was like a supercomputer racing with endless algorithms and calculations as she tried to force clarity from the chaos of data and unpredictable variables. She needed strategic decisions to attract investment capital for her promising startup, but each decision seemed like a high mountain to climb, each choice leading to an inescapable maze of possibilities and risks. The deeper she analyzed, the more she tried to calculate every scenario, the more paralyzed she became, unable to chart a definitive course, and the necessary capital felt ever more distant. Perhaps you recognize this pattern in your own financial life, the whirlwind of ceaseless thoughts, the belief that if you think hard enough, deep enough, long enough, the right answer, the perfect financial solution, will automatically appear. However, the universe in its wise operation holds a different truth, a less suspected path to wisdom. In the depths of stillness lies a knowing, an intelligence that transcends all efforts of the analytical intellect. This knowing does not arise from the clamor of logical thought streams, but emerges from the precious silences between thoughts. Ancient Zen masters understood this profoundly when they spoke of mushin, no mind, a mind undisturbed like the placid surface of a lake, capable of perfectly reflecting reality as it is undistorted by the ripples of judgment or anxiety. Modern neuroscience is now gradually confirming what these sages knew for millennia. When the brain enters a state of deep stillness, when brainwaves slow, creative solutions and breakthrough insights often naturally arise from deeper levels of consciousness beyond the capacity of ordinary logical thinking. Dr. Hayes discovered this truth only after exhaustion and impasse forced her to stop. One weekend morning, instead of diving into analytical charts and financial models as usual, she decided to visit a quiet garden near her home and simply sit there in silence, not trying to solve anything. In that space of letting go, when her mind was no longer compelled to search for answers, clarity began to emerge effortlessly, not as a complex chain of thoughts, but as an intuitive knowing, a deep sense of the right direction for her company. It came like a flash of light, simple and powerful, transcending all prior analysis. This also mirrors the journey of Carlos, a talented young chef with a dream of opening a unique restaurant with a personal touch. He had spent years stuck in the planning phase. He endlessly researched culinary trends, tried to create complex menus to please every imagined customer demographic, and obsessed over detailed financial projections, trying to force a perfect business idea into existence to ensure monetary success. However, his creativity seemed stifled under the weight of calculation and fear of failure, and he dared not take the leap. Carlos's turning point came when he decided to temporarily stop trying to invent a perfect restaurant from his head. He put aside the detailed business plans and began to do what he loved most, purely cooking. He hosted small dinner parties at home for friends, participated in modest community food events, focusing entirely on the joy of creating dishes that told his own story, dishes that touched the heart. In those moments of unforced creation free from the immediate pressure of financial success, a unique culinary style, Carlos's distinct essence began to form naturally. And then, at one of those small pop-up events, a food-loving investor captivated by Carlos's authenticity, passion, and surprisingly innovative dishes approached him. Financial opportunity came not from detailed plans, but from the radiance of a talent nurtured in the space of joy and stillness from calculations. Practice immersing in financial silence. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed for about 10 to 15 minutes. Sit comfortably either on a chair or on the floor, keeping your back straight but relaxed. Close your eyes and let your breath find its natural rhythm without trying to control or change it. During this time, consciously release all efforts to figure out a financial solution, to understand a complex problem, or to plan for the future. Let thoughts about money, work, investments, or any financial anxieties come and go naturally like clouds drifting across the sky of your mind without pursuing them, analyzing them, or judging them. Simply rest in the silence, in the still space that exists beneath and between your streams of thought. Notice how answers, creative ideas, or a sense of peace and clarity often arise not from the stress of mental effort, but precisely from this deep, quiet space. Just as a clear pond can only reveal the hidden treasures at its bottom, when its surface is perfectly still, undisturbed, your mind too will open to divine wisdom, to profound financial insights in moments of complete quiet and surrender. Trust that wisdom and financial solutions flow naturally when you step out of the way of your own mental noise and incessant analysis. Much like a river always finds its optimal course without any external force or resistance. Within this simple practice lies the key for you to access the infinite intelligence that already resides within you, an ancient knowing that has guided seekers of truth and prosperity throughout the ages. When you release the myth to grasp understanding with your intellect, universal truth, including the pathways to abundance, will gently emerge from the depths of your being. Part 3. Mastering the Effortless Attraction of Abundance. Chapter 15. The Principle of Wu Wei. Effortless Action. Abundant Attraction. In a small recording studio bathed in soft golden light, Jamal, a talented musician and composer, often sat motionless for hours before his piano, the muscles in his shoulders and neck rigid with effort. Years of dedicated composition and opportunity-seeking had brought him to this juncture, a turning point, where he felt he had to create a hit, a piece that could bring fame and financial security. But the more he tried to perfect every note, every harmony to fit an imagined market taste, the more his music became stiff, lacking vibration, and ineffective in touching the hearts of listeners or producers. The lucrative recording contracts, the opportunities to place his music in films that he yearned for, seemed always just out of reach. You see, much like Jamal and his creative struggles, perhaps you too have fallen into the subtle trap of believing that mastery, financial success, demands relentless exertion, meticulous control, and a forceful exertion of will. The wisdom of Wu Wei, a concept often translated as action through non-action, or more accurately, effortless action, reveals a profound paradox at the very heart of all true achievement, including the attraction of money. When you loosen the grip of excessive trying, when you relinquish the tension of needing to make it happen, your natural power, creativity, and true effectiveness spontaneously emerge. This is not passivity or laziness. It is a state of perfect alignment with the flow of life, a profound attunement where action seems to flow through you rather than from an ego fraught with pressure and control. The great masters of old understood that true power comes not from trying to force the river to flow your way, but from becoming the river itself, supple and strong. In your daily life and financial activities, notice how tension and excessive effort create resistance. When you grip too tightly to a specific financial outcome, when you worry incessantly about how to achieve it. Your very tension inadvertently blocks the natural energy flow, dulls your intuition, and causes you to miss subtle opportunities. However, when you relax into the present moment, allowing your actions to arise naturally from inner clarity and joy, you tap into a deeper current of power, a wisdom capable of yielding results far beyond your expectations. Consider the story of Priya, a dedicated math teacher who decided to open a small online tutoring class to help struggling students. Initially, she spent countless hours pushing her business forward through sheer willpower. Every day was a battle with advertising campaigns trying to fill her schedule and worrying about competition. Every small achievement seemed to come at the cost of exhausting effort and stress. Until one day, after reading about the principle of Wu Wei, she decided to experiment with a different approach. She began to move through her work with an ease like breathing. She no longer forced aggressive advertising campaigns or chased every potential student relentlessly. Instead, she focused on creating truly quality lessons, generously sharing helpful math tips on social media, purely for the joy of helping and trusting that the students who truly needed her support would find her. She allowed opportunities to unfold naturally, responding to each student's request with dedication and graceful efficiency rather than strained effort. The results completely transformed her small business, not through increased effort, but precisely through its release. Students were drawn to her natural confidence, and calm classes became more relaxed and effective, and financial success came to her naturally without the previous stress and anxiety. Practice effortless financial action. For today, select 3 daily activities related to your work or finances. This could be writing an important email to a partner, making a sales call, analyzing an investment opportunity, planning your expenses, or even decluttering your workspace to create inspiration. As you perform each of these tasks consciously, release any sense of excessive trying or forcing the outcome. Let your actions, words, and decisions arise naturally, as if they are unfolding through you, guided by a deeper wisdom. Notice how your body and mind know exactly what to do when you step out of the way of your own control and worry. Feel the distinct difference between forced action stemming from fear or pressure and allowed action flowing from a place of peace and trust. When tension or the desire to control arises, simply observe it gently and allow it to dissolve naturally, like morning dew in the warm sunlight. Allow each action, each financial decision, to flow from a place of ease rather than strenuous effort, trusting in your inherent wisdom and the support of the universe. Notice how much more graceful, precise, and effective your actions become when you loosen the grip of conscious control and let the natural flow lead. This is the beginning of practicing Wu Wei in your financial life. The art of effortless action, an art that holds far more power and potential for attracting prosperity than any forced movement could ever achieve. Just as water always finds the optimal path to flow down a mountain, your actions become both gentle and unstoppable when you align with their natural current. In this state of allowing, you can accomplish more while doing, in the sense of straining less, tapping into an ancient power that has guided masters and truly successful individuals throughout the ages to abundance and serenity. Chapter 16. The Counterintuitive Path to Wealth. Stop seeking, start being. In a cozy little kitchen, fragrant with the scent of freshly baked bread, Anita, a talented artisan baker, often surrounded herself with stacks of entrepreneurship books, detailed business plans, and online seminars on how to build a successful bakery. Her bookshelves nearly buckled under the weight of financial secrets and marketing strategies, yet her bank account remained stubbornly empty, and her dream of owning her own bakery cafe seemed ever distant. Each morning she would research new techniques, search for secret recipes, potential funding sources, desperately seeking something external that would unlock the door to abundance. But the universe in its wisdom was preparing a very different lesson for her. You see, the very act of relentlessly pursuing wealth, financial success, from a place of lack and fear inadvertently creates a subtle energy of not having. When you chase money with the mindset of, I need it because I don't have it, you are sending a clear signal to the universe that you are in a state of deficiency, and the universe, with its infinite wisdom and precise reflection, will tend to mirror that belief and state back to you. This is the hidden mechanism behind all attraction, all manifestation. Your state of being, the vibrational frequency you emit, not just your external actions, is what determines what flows into your life. Anita's transformation began one rainy afternoon as she sat quietly looking at her freshly baked goods, feeling a profound weariness with the endless chase. She suddenly realized that all her searching, her ceaseless effort, stemmed from a deep inner feeling of inadequacy, of unworthiness, a fear that she couldn't succeed without something external. In that moment of truth, she decided to stop chasing the idea of a successful bakery in the future, and instead she chose to embody, feel, and live with the energy of abundance right now with what she had. She began to move through her life as if the prosperity, joy, and success of a beloved bakery owner already filled every corner of her existence. Her shoulders relaxed, her breath deepened, and a natural confidence and passion began to radiate from her, not from having a large bakery, but from knowing the inherent value of the bread she made, from the joy of creating and sharing. She redecorated her small kitchen corner to be cozy, tended to each batch of bread with all her love, shared stories of her passion with her few customers, and felt the happiness as if she were already the proprietor of a renowned bakery. Within a few weeks, miraculous things began to happen. Opportunities appeared effortlessly. An old friend, sensing her renewed passion and energy, unexpectedly offered to partner and invest. A food blogger happened to taste her bread and wrote a glowing review. Orders began to increase. Resources and support started flowing naturally into her life. Anita had discovered what ancient mystics had long known: abundance is not something you chase, but something you become. The story of Kenji, a talented data analyst who always felt undervalued and underpaid in a nonprofit organization, reflects this truth in another way. After years of trying to climb the ladder by applying for higher-paying positions in large corporations, constantly revising his resume to fit external requirements, he found that his desperate search for external validation and financial worth seemed to repel good opportunities. The moment he began to change was when he stopped seeking confirmation from others and instead focused on radiating value and confidence from within. He began to treat himself, his time, and his skills as if he were a top sought-after expert. He proactively proposed innovative solutions in his current job, confidently presented his ideas, and naturally assumed a leadership role. He lived fully with pride in his own capabilities. Everything began to change. He no longer had to scan for opportunities somewhere far off. Instead, opportunities began to find him, drawn by the light of confidence, competence, and integrity he was radiating. An invitation to consult on a major project with a handsome fee came to him unexpectedly, not from a job application, but from the recognition of the value he was. Practice embodying your financial aspirations. For the next 7 days, you will practice being rather than seeking in your financial sphere. Choose a specific aspect of your financial life where you feel you have been exhaustingly pursuing a certain outcome, whether it's attracting more clients, achieving a certain income level, or finding an investment opportunity. Each morning upon waking, take 3 deep breaths and consciously allow yourself to shift into the energetic state of already having what you desire financially. Feel it, believe it, move through your day as if financial abundance already fills your life. Walk, talk, and make decisions as if solid financial success already embraces you. Feel the peace, confidence, and generosity as if all your financial needs are already fully met. Notice how this shift in your internal energy affects how others respond to you, how new financial opportunities may present themselves, and how your external reality begins to harmonize with your new internally abundant way of being. This is not about pretending or forcing something unreal. It is about consciously allowing yourself to resonate with the energetic frequency of what you wish to attract. Just as a tuning fork when struck vibrates at a perfect pitch and causes other tuning forks of the same frequency to resonate, you too will naturally draw towards you the people, opportunities, and financial resources that match your inner state of abundance and worthiness. Chapter 17. The Art of Doing Less. Achieving More in Finance. The Secret of Effective Focus. In a sun-drenched studio apartment where creative ideas flowed ceaselessly, Isabella, a freelance writer and content creator, often found herself submerged in an exhausting whirlwind of work. Her schedule was crammed with online meetings with potential clients, her inbox perpetually overflowing with endless requests and tasks, and her mind constantly racing with myriad strategies to promote herself and find new projects. She tried to maintain a presence on 5 different social media platforms, blog daily, send out dozens of pitch emails weekly, and accept any small contract that came her way, all while relentlessly learning new software and skills. Yet despite this ceaseless vortex of activity, her income remained stubbornly average, and she always felt a lingering fatigue, as if her creative flame were slowly dimming. You have been taught, and perhaps you too have believed, that financial success demands maximum effort, that more action, more hours worked, will yield greater results. This illusion, a prevalent belief in modern society, has kept countless people, possibly including yourself, trapped in an endless cycle of work, while the natural flow of the universe's abundance and prosperity silently passes you by unnoticed. The truth, however, lies in an ancient principle, a law long recognized by thinkers and truly successful individuals, and today confirmed by modern analysis. A vital few actions, intentionally chosen efforts, yield the majority of results. In every sphere of life, from business to relationships, you will discover that roughly 20% of your efforts produce up to 80% of your desired outcomes. This is not merely a mathematical observation or a time management principle. It is a profound spiritual law, a reflection of how the universe operates along the natural path of least resistance, of elegant efficiency. When you align yourself with this principle, you step into harmony with the cosmic flow, where energy is used wisely and results arrive with greater ease. The transformation in Isabella's career and finances began when, in a moment of quiet reflection, after days of debilitating exhaustion, she decided to free herself from the burden of unnecessary actions. She took the time to review her past projects, her sources of income, and surprisingly realized that only 2 or 3 key clients or in-depth articles for a few prestigious magazines truly brought in 80% of her revenue and, more importantly, her joy and satisfaction in her work. She boldly eliminated countless trivial tasks, social media activities that yielded no clear results, and jobs that drained her energy while contributing little to her larger goals. Instead, she discovered the power of inspired action, those rare yet incredibly potent moments when the universe seems to guide you to effortless achievements, to breakthrough ideas. She focused her precious creative energy on nurturing those crucial client relationships, investing time in creating the highest quality work and trusting that this was enough. And miraculously, her income not only didn't decrease but actually increased, while she found herself with more time for herself and other passions. The journey of Mr. Chen, a retired teacher who began self-managing his small investment portfolio, also reflects this wisdom in an entirely different field. Initially, he felt utterly overwhelmed. He subscribed to numerous financial newsletters, tried to follow complex trading strategies he didn't truly understand, constantly checked stock price fluctuations on his phone, and made many small frequent trades with a heart full of anxiety. His investment results were lackluster, and the stress it brought was considerable. His breakthrough came when he decided to simplify everything after chancing upon a book about long-term value investing and the power of doing less but with higher quality. He stopped trying to beat the market with complicated tactics. He sold off many small, highly speculative investments he didn't truly understand and focused his portfolio on a few companies with solid fundamentals operating in sectors he understood and whose long-term growth potential he believed in. He stopped checking his portfolio daily, opting instead for periodic quarterly reviews, trusting in sustainable growth. He dedicated time to deeply understand a few core investments rather than trying to master countless high-frequency trading strategies. And then his portfolio began to grow more steadily, and more importantly, his peace of mind was restored. He achieved better financial results by performing fewer superfluous actions and focusing on a few crucial proven investment principles. Practice financial effort detox. For the next 3 days, you will practice the art of eliminating unnecessary efforts in your financial and work-related activities. List and assess. Begin by listing all your current activities, tasks, and obligations related to earning money, managing finances, or developing your career. Reflect and select. Then, in a state of quiet reflection, ask yourself for each item on the list, which of these actions are truly vital and yield the majority of results? Financial satisfaction, growth. Which actions arise from genuine inspiration, joy, and alignment, rather than from a sense of duty, pressure, or fear? Eliminate or delegate. Boldly eliminate or find ways to delegate anything that is not truly essential, does not provide commensurate value for the effort expended, or does not align with your natural flow and strengths. Question before acting. When faced with new tasks or old habits, pause for a moment and ask yourself, is this truly necessary? Is this the simplest, most effective way to achieve the goal? Release busyness. Let go of the urge to fill every moment with activity, with doing something. Observe how your energy naturally flows towards what is truly most important when you create space. Notice how eliminating superfluous efforts, unnecessary financial noise, creates space for inspiration and unexpected opportunities to guide you. This is not about laziness or evading responsibility. It is about aligning yourself with the natural efficiency of the universe, where fewer but more focused and inspired actions often produce greater and more sustainable results. As you practice this art of effortless action, you will discover a profound truth. The universe operates through elegant simplicity, not forced complexity. When you release the need to control every financial outcome through sheer willpower and relentless effort, you open yourself to a divine intelligence, a wisdom that orchestrates all life and the flow of prosperity. Chapter 18. The Beauty of Uncertainty, the Gateway to Infinite Prosperity. In a high-tech laboratory where groundbreaking inventions were expected to change the world, Dr. Anya Sharma, a brilliant research scientist, had spent years planning each of her projects with meticulous precision. Every grant application, every research phase, every potential outcome was painstakingly mapped out, aiming for predictable results and ensuring stable long-term funding. She often shied away from high-risk research directions despite their potential for major breakthroughs, to prioritize the certainty of incremental, slow advancements. Although she maintained steady but modest funding, she felt her true creative potential was being stifled, and major financial breakthroughs for the lab and for the commercial applications of her inventions remained elusive. You have been taught, and perhaps you too believe, that knowledge equates to power, and that certainty, predictability brings safety, especially in the financial realm. However, ancient wisdom and undercurrent of timeless sagacity reveals a profound paradox. True power, the ability to access infinite potentials, lies in our courage to embrace the unknown, to step into the territory of uncertainty. When you release the illusion of complete control, when you stop trying to grasp and shape everything according to your will, infinite possibilities, unexpected opportunities begin to emerge from the very void of that mystery. The universe in its deepest nature operates through uncertainty. This is not just a vague philosophical speculation, but a fundamental truth gradually being unveiled by the discoveries of quantum physics. At the most microscopic level of reality, where matter and energy intertwine, certainty seems to dissolve, giving way to waves of probability, a field of infinite potential. Your desire for absolute certainty in every financial plan, in every investment decision, actually creates an invisible resistance to the natural flow of life, inadvertently blocking the very opportunities, the creative solutions that await discovery in the mystery of the unknown. The transformation in Dr. Sharma's approach to her work and resource attraction began when circumstances forced her into the unknown. A major funding source, one she had considered certain, was unexpectedly cut due to policy changes. This plunged her lab's future into extreme precariousness. Initially, there was panic and disappointment, but then, with nothing left to lose, she was compelled to consider more unconventional research avenues, bolder ideas, and less certain collaborations she had previously dismissed outright. In that space of uncertainty, an entirely new revolutionary research idea unexpectedly sparked in her mind. She decided to apply for a smaller, more experimental grant for this new concept. And then this high-risk, high-reward project, born from her daring embrace of uncertainty, not only surprisingly received the necessary funding, but also led to a breakthrough discovery bringing immense commercialization potential and consequently a far more abundant financial influx than all her previous safe projects combined. In a rapidly developing coastal city, Carlos Ramirez, owner of a traditional family restaurant that had existed for generations, always prided himself on its stability and certainty. He relied on a familiar clientele, a menu unchanged for years, and trusted suppliers. The restaurant's income was stable, but had begun to show signs of stagnation. He always resisted any ideas of change or trying anything new, fearing it would disrupt the certain business model he was accustomed to. Then uncertainty struck his neighborhood. A major urban planning project caused many of his regular customers to relocate, while a host of new, more modern and trendy restaurants began to appear, directly threatening his certain business model. Facing the risk of closure, Carlos was forced to step into uncharted territory. Instead of surrendering to fate, he decided to courageously embrace uncertainty. He began experimenting with a few newer dishes with a more contemporary flair, collaborated with local artists to host small weekend performances at the restaurant, and even started using online ordering and delivery platforms he had previously been wary of. He also boldly opened a small pop-up stall showcasing his signature dishes at a newly emerging food market in another district of the city. This willingness to navigate uncertainty, to dare to try new things, not only saved his family business, but also attracted a new, more diverse clientele, leading to soaring revenues and a rekindling of his professional passion that had seemed to cool. His financial success was renewed and multiplied precisely because he dared to embrace the unknown. Practice the financial uncertainty challenge. For the next day, intentionally create an opportunity for yourself to step into the unknown in some aspect of your financial or work life. Start your day without a minute-by-minute detailed plan, without rigid expectations of outcomes. Try to let go of your usual financial routines and predetermined results in one small area. When your mind starts seeking certainty, wanting to know everything in advance, gently remind yourself, I choose to keep my mind open to infinite possibilities, to unexpected solutions. Throughout the day, try making a few small choices that take you off your familiar path. Perhaps it's exploring a new investment channel you've never considered, with a small, risk-acceptable amount of capital, talking to someone in a completely different industry, for fresh ideas, or trying a new marketing strategy for your product/service with no guaranteed outcome. When feelings of anxiety or unease about the unknown arise, take a deep breath and allow that feeling to be present, rather than trying to fight or suppress it. Notice how uncertainty, when you accept it, can open doors, ideas, and opportunities that your certainty and rigid planning previously kept closed. Feel how releasing the need to know everything, to control every outcome, creates space for unexpected gifts, for unscripted financial flows to enter your life. This is not about recklessness or irresponsibility. It is about aligning yourself with the natural state of infinite potential that the universe always holds. As you release your grip on fixed financial outcomes, observe how the universe responds with wondrous synchronicities, with unexpected opportunities you could never have planned for. Each moment you courageously embrace the unknown will strengthen your faith in a greater intelligence, a wisdom that orchestrates all things, including the flow of prosperity. You are learning to dance with uncertainty, allowing it to lead you to far richer experiences and financial achievements than your limited mind could ever conceive. Chapter 19. The Power of Surrender, the Key to Unlocking Financial Flow. Imagine Marcus, a talented freelance software developer, standing before the river of sudden change in his career. His largest client, the one who had provided the bulk of his stable income for years, abruptly announced they were moving all software development in-house. Marcus's initial reaction was panic and intense resistance. He tried to persuade the client to reconsider, frantically searched day and night for a replacement job with a similar high salary, feeling angry and victimized by this financial blow. This resistance made him stressed, unfocused, and ironically, even less effective in finding new opportunities. He was, in essence, trying to swim upstream against a raging flood. Perhaps you too have been taught and have experienced the need to fight, to push, to resist what life, especially financial challenges, brings your way. Society often praises an unyielding fighting spirit. However, hidden deep within the layers of timeless wisdom, a truth capable of transforming struggle into ease awaits discovery. The path of non-resistance, of surrender, holds a power far greater than all the battles you have ever waged. When you fight against the current of life, when you resist unwanted financial changes, you create inner turmoil and energetic disturbance that depletes your vitality and inadvertently blocks the natural path to solutions and prosperity. Like a river encountering a large boulder in its path, your resistance creates chaotic eddies and stagnation where there could have been a smooth and harmonious flow. The universe in its operations moves with perfect precision and intelligence. Your resistance only disrupts its natural current and inherent wisdom. Marcus's transformation began one afternoon as he sat quietly beside a tranquil lake, observing how leaves gently floated with the current, how the water gracefully yielded to and enveloped the pebbles without any resistance. He suddenly realized that the power of water comes not from its attempt to force its way, but from its ability to surrender, to adapt to what is. In that moment, he understood that trying to cling to the past or fight against reality only made him more exhausted. He decided to stop fighting. He accepted the truth that his old client was gone. Instead of dwelling on the loss, he took a deep breath and allowed himself to feel the uncertainty of the future without immediately trying to resist it. This very non-resistance opened up a space for new clarity. He began to explore other types of freelance work he hadn't considered before, perhaps projects using new skills he had recently acquired or work that offered a better life balance. An unexpected opportunity for a collaborative project with another freelancer or an idea to develop his own app, which he now had time for, began to emerge. Things he would never have seen if his mind had still been consumed by resisting the initial loss. This new financial path, opened up by acceptance and surrender, eventually led him to more diverse and sustainable sources of income. On the bustling shopping streets of a large city, Chloe, the owner of a charming little independent bookstore that had thrived for years, suddenly faced fierce competition. A large chain bookstore with competitive prices opened nearby, along with the explosion of online book purchasing, began to erode her loyal customer base. Chloe's initial reaction was strong resistance. She complained about unfair competition, tried to slash book prices to keep up with her rival, which severely impacted her profits, and felt immense stress trying to maintain her old business model against these financial threats. Her turning point came when, in a moment of quiet, she stopped fighting the market changes and instead accepted the new reality. She asked herself, how can I flow with this current, instead of uselessly trying to resist it? She began to focus on what her small bookstore could offer that the large chain and online retailers couldn't: deeply personalized book recommendations, cozy meet and greets with local authors, a quiet and inspiring community space, carefully curated, book collections on unique themes, and she even added a charming little coffee corner in her store. By surrendering to the flow of the new market, accepting change and innovating within it, rather than merely resisting what was happening, Chloe's bookstore found a new market niche, attracting a new loyal clientele who valued the unique offerings she provided. The store not only survived, but began to thrive in a new way. Her financial prosperity was restored and even enhanced, all thanks to her ability to adapt through non-resistance. Practice releasing financial resistance. For the next 3 days, practice observing where you are resisting the natural flow of life, especially in financial matters. Pay attention to the tension in your body, the tightness, the rigidity in your thinking, when things don't go according to your plans or desires. Instead of fighting against what is, practice saying yes to each moment, accepting it as it is, even if it's initially uncomfortable. Begin each morning by setting a simple intention. Today, I choose to flow with life and my financial currents rather than resist them. When financial challenges arise, an unexpected expense, a missed opportunity, an unfavorable response from a client, try to soften your inner resistance. Breathe deeply. Feel how your body relaxes when you stop fighting reality. Notice how solutions, new ideas, or an inner peace can emerge more easily when you no longer block them with the wall of resistance. This ancient practice does not mean becoming passive or abandoning your responsibilities. It means learning to align yourself with the wisdom of the universe, with the natural flow of energy, instead of fruitlessly opposing it. Just as water always finds the optimal path to flow, you will discover that acceptance, surrender, holds a power far greater than resistance ever could. When you release the need to control every direction of your financial life, you tap into an intelligent flow capable of guiding you to your highest good, to solutions and opportunities you couldn't see when your mind was busy resisting. Let each breath be a reminder to soften, to surrender, to trust. Feel your energy expand, your creativity flow, and new financial doors open as you stop resisting what is. This is the wisdom taught by sages throughout the ages. True power lies not in fighting against life, but in learning to dance gracefully and wisely with it. Chapter 20. The Ultimate Key to Prosperity. Surrendering to the infinite flow amidst complex design blueprints and exquisite architectural models. In a prestigious office, architect Alistair Finch sat surrounded by progress charts, meticulously detailed plans, and tightly binding contracts, the tools of control he had trusted and relied upon his entire career. Each morning he would painstakingly map out the precise path for each project's success, attempting to force his vision into perfect realization, overcoming all obstacles with an iron will and relentless control. However, though his buildings might be praised for their technical merit, true success, including inner peace, smooth collaborations, and an abundant, easy flow of finances, often remained elusive, sometimes slipping through his fingers like water, leaving behind stress and fatigue. You have been taught, and this society frequently reinforces the belief, that tight control yields desired results. that meticulous planning down to the finest detail ensures victory, especially in financial and career matters. But a deeper truth exists, a verity capable of transforming the very foundation of all manifestation, including prosperity, when you release all control, when you completely surrender the effort to impose your will upon reality. The infinite, intelligent, and powerful flow of life will naturally carry you exactly where you need to go, bringing blessings you could never have orchestrated on your own. The universe, in its wondrous workings, operates through you, not by you, in the sense of a separate battling ego. All your attempts to force your individual will against its natural current, all efforts to rigidly control financial outcomes, only create resistance, an invisible wall blocking your natural path to sufficiency and serenity. When architect Alistair, on a large-scale community project with myriad unforeseen variables and a tight budget, was finally forced to abandon some of his detailed charts and strict control plans, when he began to trust more in his team's creativity, allowing unexpected solutions to emerge and completely surrendering to the project's actual flow, everything changed miraculously. New collaborative opportunities appeared effortlessly, seemingly intractable problems were resolved naturally, and the project not only succeeded beyond expectations aesthetically and functionally, but also brought far greater financial benefits and prestige than he had ever envisioned. He learned that by relinquishing control, a greater collective wisdom and creative flow were allowed to operate. This truth echoes through the ages, through the teachings of sages, and the profound experiences of countless individuals. The flow of life, with its infinite wisdom, always knows the most perfect path. Like a leaf gently carried by a clear, cool stream, you will reach your destination of prosperity and fulfillment, not through strenuous effort, not through relentless struggle, but precisely through complete surrender, a trusting release into that current. On a sun-drenched coast, Sophia, a freelance travel writer and photographer, had lived for years, believing she had to be the sole architect of her financial and career destiny. She controlled every detail of her trips, tried to force every opportunity into existence, meticulously planned every article, every photograph, to ensure they would sell to major magazines at high prices. She worked ceaselessly, always in a state of hunting for the next contract, until exhaustion and a sense of emptiness nearly overcame her. Then one morning, sitting on a pristine beach, watching the relentless silver-crested waves crash onto the shore, powerfully yet so naturally and effortlessly reshaping the coastline, she had a profound realization. The ocean doesn't fight or try to create its perfect curves, its smooth, sandy shores. It simply flows. And in that very flow, in that natural movement, all is miraculously accomplished. The moment Sophia loosened her grip on life, on her career, on her detailed financial plans, she discovered that she had never truly been in control of anything. The flow of life, of opportunities, had always known where to take her. It was her resistance, her attempt to control, that had delayed her journey to true experiences and success. Now, carried by the current of life and her true passion, she began writing about authentic experiences, unexpected encounters on the road, photographs taken from the heart. Without worrying excessively if they would sell, she found herself achieving everything, including recognition, valuable contracts, and a stable income that she had previously struggled in vain to grasp. Practice the ritual of complete surrender to the financial flow. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed, your own sacred sanctuary where the whispers of the outside world cannot reach you. Close your eyes and imagine yourself as water, utterly flexible, soft, without fixed form, offering no resistance to any current that guides you. Feel yourself becoming as supple as a stream winding through rocks, as effortlessly yielding as dew on a leaf. For the next 7 days, begin each morning by consciously releasing all efforts to force a particular financial outcome, all rigid thoughts about how money must come, every tense muscle in your body that speaks of control and anxiety. Say silently or even aloud, allowing these words to permeate every cell of your being. I completely surrender to the perfect flow of life, including the flow of prosperity. I release all need to control, to force, or to direct my financial path. I allow the infinite current of sufficiency, wisdom, and opportunity to carry me where I need to go at the perfect time. Let these words of ancient wisdom, these affirmations of surrender, slowly dissolve the barriers, the fears you have unwittingly built against the natural rhythm of life and the flow of wealth. Throughout your day, whenever you find yourself trying too hard, forcing an outcome, worrying, or controlling a financial situation, be it in meetings, money, conversations, investment decisions, or any action, gently pause, breathe deeply, and return to this state of absolute surrender. Remember that the wisdom of the universe, its ability to create prosperity, flows through you most powerfully when you stop resisting it with your small ego. Just as water always finds its optimal path through the earth, trust that your financial path, the solutions you need, will reveal themselves at the most sacred and perfect time. In your surrender lies your greatest strength. Observe the subtle signs of resistance within you: a clenched jaw when thinking about bills, a tightened fist when facing risk, a mind racing relentlessly trying to control every financial outcome. In these moments, take a deep breath and recall the wisdom of the ages, that all of nature's grandest creations, all its richness and beauty, come from allowing, from surrender, not from force. The mighty river does not fight its banks. It flows in their embrace, creating beauty and life through acceptance and harmony. Your complete surrender is not weakness or resignation. It is the highest form of strength, because when you release your grip on the wheel of life, when you stop trying to steer your financial boat alone and with such tension, you allow the infinite intelligence of the universe, a boundless creative and supportive force, to guide your journey with wisdom, grace, and perfect precision towards an ocean of sufficiency and peace. Chapter 21. The Consciousness of the Effortless Prosperity. Manifester, the Power of Absolute Knowing. In a state-of-the-art laboratory amidst cutting-edge equipment, Dr. Lena Petrova, a dedicated environmental scientist, stood before her vision board. On it were images of her groundbreaking water purification technology being deployed globally, bringing clean water to millions, and naturally accompanied by resounding financial success for her startup. She had spent years in research and development and now was the stage of seeking funding. But whenever she looked at the board, her mind would race with endless analyses and doubts. Was her business plan convincing enough? Was the financial model realistic? Was she approaching the right network of investors? Should she try a different fundraising technique? This constant doubt, this relentless analysis, created a labyrinth of uncertainty, trapping her in cycles of overthinking, and the necessary capital remained an elusive variable. You see, the universe, in its miraculous responsiveness, doesn't truly react to your strenuous efforts, but it resonates with the certainty, the unwavering belief from within you. When you plant a seed in the earth, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's sprouting, to monitor its progress. You trust in the invisible forces of nature. You know that with the right conditions, that seed will grow into a strong tree. This is the hidden truth, a subtle law that transforms mere wishes, fragile hopes, into powerful and certain manifestations in reality. Our subconscious mind, that ancient mystical gateway to the creative power of the universe, only recognizes and responds to absolute conviction, a knowing from the very core of our being. It does not react to mere hopes or wishes, no matter how fervent, but it resonates with an unshakable state of knowing, a rock-solid belief. When Dr. Lena, after a profound meditation retreat that reconnected her with her initial passion and grand vision, finally stopped incessantly questioning the how and possibility, and instead settled into a pure certainty, a knowing that her technology was a gift to the world, and would undoubtedly be realized that the necessary resources were already available to her. Her reality shifted almost instantaneously. A chance encounter with a philanthropist who shared her environmental concerns, someone completely different from the venture capitalists she had been targeting, led to her receiving the full funding required. Work materialized, partnerships blossomed, and market expansion opportunities found their way to her, not because she had perfected yet another fundraising technique, but because she had fully embraced an absolute inner knowing. On the quiet streets of a small town, Mr. David Kim, a retired history teacher, desired an additional steady income for a more comfortable retirement by investing in real estate. He had spent months searching for signs from the universe, indicating the right investment deal. He obsessively analyzed market trends, looked for lucky numbers in property listings, and even consulted various astrologers and feng shui experts for guidance on when and where to buy. However, he was frequently paralyzed by conflicting signs or their complete absence, and many good investment opportunities passed him by. He only truly understood the principle of effortless manifestation when he stumbled upon an ancient book on Eastern philosophy. He realized that true guidance doesn't come from external omens, but must originate from a place of inner knowing, stillness, and intuition. He stopped frantically searching for external signs and instead began to cultivate a deep trust in his own judgment, a certainty that the perfect real estate opportunity suited to his financial situation and beneficial to him truly existed and would reveal itself at the right time. He started viewing properties with a calm, open, and trusting mind. One day, while casually browsed local property listings, not a hunt based on signs, a modest little house, one he might have previously overlooked for lacking anything special by external criteria, suddenly gave him an undeniable feeling of rightness, a strong inner urge, an absolute knowing. He decided to investigate further, and it turned out to be an undervalued, hidden gem with excellent rental potential and future appreciation. His most successful investment arrived not from chasing external signs, but from a place of inner certainty. Your power of financial manifestation lies not in perfecting methods, techniques, or deciphering external signs, but in absolute inner conviction and unshakable belief. When you know, truly know from the depths of your being that your desire for prosperity has already been fulfilled in the invisible realm, in the energy field of the universe, then the visible material world has no choice but to adjust, to rearrange itself to match that certainty of yours. Practice activating financial certainty. Sit in perfect stillness, perhaps early in the morning or in the evening before sleep. Recall a time in the past when you knew something with absolute certainty without a shred of doubt. Perhaps it was that the sun would rise tomorrow, or that cool water would quench your thirst, or that the love of a certain family member for you was unconditional. Feel that unshakable certainty in every cell of your body, in every beat of your heart. Now choose a specific financial desire of yours, perhaps a new income level, a business opportunity, freedom from debt, or the ability to contribute to a noble cause. Allow that feeling of unshakable certainty you just experienced to completely permeate this financial desire. Don't wish it would happen. Don't hope it will come. Don't wonder if it will materialize. No, let your entire being, from mind and heart to every cell, resonate with a knowing that what you desire financially is already yours in the invisible realm, has been approved by the universe, and is on its way to you. Throughout your day, whenever a shred of doubt or anxiety about money arises, gently return to this state of absolute knowing. Feel the distinct difference between hoping and knowing, between wishing and being certain. And release all need for external signs or proof to validate your belief. Trust that what is yours in consciousness, what you hold steadfastly, with unshakable faith, must manifest in physical form in the material world. This is the ancient art of certainty, the solid foundation upon which all effortless and sustainable manifestations of prosperity are built. Chapter 22. Becoming a Money Magnet, the Power of Being. On the vibrant streets of a major city where opportunities seemed to bloom, yet competition was fierce, Leo, a freelance strategy consultant with sharp professional skills, often moved through networking events and potential client meetings with a subtle air of desperation. Each interaction seemed to become an unspoken plea for approval, each networking attempt an effort to fill his schedule and secure his income stream. He attended every industry seminar, sent out countless meticulously crafted project proposals, and always tried to make a strong impression. However, the more he tried to reach out, the more he tried to get contracts, the more clients seemed to keep their distance or hesitate. His energy of needing, though unintentional, created an invisible barrier. Perhaps you too have recognized this pattern in your own financial journey or in trying to achieve any goal. An immutable universal law is always at play. What you relentlessly chase with an energy of lack tends to evade you, while what you truly are, what you authentically embody from your core being, will naturally attract corresponding things. This truth has echoed through the ages, whispered by mystics, and is now gradually being confirmed by modern understandings of energy vibration and the power of the consciousness field. When Leo, after many disappointments and a moment of profound reflection, finally stopped pursuing validation and contracts so desperately, something remarkable happened. His energy began to shift from a state of needing to a state of being, from seeking recognition and work to attracting naturally. Without needing to drastically change his appearance or external circumstances, he simply focused on embodying the quiet confidence, the profound expertise, and the true value of a top professional in his field. He attended events with the intention of genuine connection, generously shared his knowledge, and spoke about his work with a passion and certainty, as if he already had a long list of ideal clients. And then miraculously others began to actively seek his presence. Collaboration invitations started coming from unexpected sources. Clients were drawn by an inexplicable force radiating from the self-possession, peace, and value he was. The power of attraction, especially in drawing money and financial opportunities, lies not truly in what you do strenuously, but in who you are being at an energetic level. Your energy, your vibrational frequency precedes you into every room, speaks for you before you utter a word, and creates your reality even before any specific action takes place. When you shift from seeking wealth to embodying abundance and value, the universe responds not just to your external efforts, but resonates powerfully with your very essence, with the energetic frequency you are emitting. In a burgeoning tech valley, Sarah, a young inventor with a promising eco-friendly product, had dreamed of scaling up production and bringing her invention to the global market. She had exhausted herself attending countless startup competitions, sending hundreds of detailed business plans to investors, and trying to push her way to funding opportunities. She often felt like she was begging for her idea to be recognized and invested in. However, major financial success remained elusive until she understood the law of energetic alignment and the power of becoming. Instead of continuing to chase investors with an energy of need and lack, Sarah began to focus on radiating the energy of a successful entrepreneur, a visionary leader whose product was already making a positive impact on the world. She spoke about her invention with unshakable faith, a certainty of its value and inevitable success. She built a small but passionate community around her product, proving its worth on a modest yet convincing scale. This powerful, confident, and purposeful energy became a magnet, an impact investment fund drawn by the steadfast belief, far-reaching vision, and tangible energy of success. Radiating from Sarah, and her project proactively approached her, offering not just capital but also a long-term strategic partnership. Practice activating your financial magnetism. Your practice now calls for a profound shift, a transformation in your energetic signature concerning money and prosperity. Find a quiet space where you can sit comfortably and close your eyes. First, allow yourself to feel the energy of lack, of desperate seeking, of trying to attract money or a financial opportunity. Notice how this energy feels contractive, heavy, perhaps even a bit desperate in your body and mind. Don't judge, just observe. Now consciously shift your awareness. Imagine and feel the energy of already having what you desire financially. Feel the abundance, the security, the freedom, the joy, and the gratitude. Notice how this energy feels expansive, light, confident, and radiant. This is your natural attractive state, the frequency of prosperity. Throughout your day, whenever you notice yourself slipping back into the energy of seeking, worrying, or needing concerning money, gently pause, take a deep breath, and consciously readjust, reconnecting with the energy of being abundant, being successful, being valuable, rather than needing something external to feel that way. Let your presence, your energy, become a powerful magnet, naturally drawing towards you all the people, opportunities, and financial resources that resonate with your true power and inner frequency of abundance. This is not a technique for your intellect to master. It is a truth about your energetic nature for you to embody, to live from. Remember, the universe doesn't just respond to what you merely want. It responds powerfully and precisely to who you are being at the deepest energetic level. Chapter 23. The Dance of Balance, between surrendering to the universe and inspired financial action. In a quiet research lab amidst complex formulas and theoretical models, Dr. Samuel Chen, a brilliant scientist with a green technology invention holding immense commercialization potential, sat motionless. Around him were detailed vision boards, journals filled with notes on manifestation principles, and a deep belief in the power of the universe. Every morning he meticulously visualized the success of his project, the positive impact it would create, and the abundant financial flow that would follow. But an invisible fear held him back, preventing him from taking concrete steps to bring his invention to market. "If I act," he often whispered to himself, "will I disrupt the universe's perfect plan? Will I make some kind of mistake?" You see, Dr. Chen, with all his erudition, had fallen into a trap that not a few on the journey of discovering the power of manifestation have encountered: the belief that acting in some way conflicts with surrendering to the universe, that merely visualizing and believing is enough. However, nature itself, the greatest teacher, reveals a different truth. A beautiful harmony. A seed doesn't just lie dormant and visualize its transformation into a mighty oak. It must also actively break through its own hard shell, extend its tender roots into the earth for nourishment, and strive to push its first shoots towards the sunlight. The universe often speaks to us through paradox. True surrender is not passive inaction, but rather action without attachment, action from a place of trust and release of outcome. It is the dance of a leaf in the wind. It moves with the breeze, yet is completely at peace with where it will land. It is the river flowing with a clear purpose towards the great sea, yet offering no resistance when unexpected rocks or bends temporarily alter its course. Chen's breakthrough came as he observed a young, energetic student in his lab. This student, though less experienced, did not hesitate to try new ideas, take small steps, and learn from both successes and failures with an open spirit. Dr. Chen suddenly realized the universe also operates through our actions. Actions taken with an open heart and a mind unbound by fear. Inspired, he began to take small, internally inspired steps towards commercializing his invention. He filed a provisional patent, initiated informal conversations with friends in the industry, and drafted a simple business project summary. All these actions were performed with a new mindset, an inner peace, no longer the stress of having to succeed, but a sense of offering a collaboration with the flow of the universe. And then doors began to open. Potential partners emerged. Initial funding was attracted not by force, but by natural resonance. The core teachings from wisdom traditions around the world reveal that action and surrender are not opposing extremes, but inseparable partners in the creative dance of life and prosperity. Ancient Taoist sages spoke of wu-wei action without forcing action in accordance with nature. Master martial artists demonstrate incredible power not through bulging muscles but through relaxed fluid and astonishingly precise movements. Even modern quantum physics shows us that elementary particles exist in both states as waves of infinite potential and as particles of concrete manifestation when observed and interacted with. In a peaceful coastal city, Aisha, a talented graphic designer, cherished the dream of building an online platform offering unique design courses and creative resources, creating a new, meaningful income stream. For years, she had visualized her successful platform, affirmed the positive impact it would have, but she hesitated, waiting for a perfect sign from the universe, an absolute guarantee before starting. She believed that any action on her part at the wrong time would interfere with divine timing. She felt that surrender meant waiting until everything fell perfectly into place on its own. Then one morning, while walking on the beach, she observed a group of children engrossed in building sandcastles. The children worked with complete focus, with boundless joy and creativity, yet they were entirely unattached to the outcome when occasional waves washed away parts of their creations. They would just laugh, then start rebuilding or creating a new design. Inspired by that spirit, Aisha realized that manifestation requires co-creation, active participation. She began to take small, joyful actions unattached to the results. Towards her dream, she sketched out content for a first course module, designed a simple landing page for the platform, and shared a few helpful design tips for free on social media. All this was done without the pressure of immediate results or having to build a perfect castle from the start. It was these consistent, inspired actions combined with her detachment from the final form and timing that began to attract her first students, potential collaborators, and a growing income stream, gradually shaping her dream into a reality even more wonderful than she had initially planned. Practice the dance of financial co-creation. Your practice now calls for this same sacred collaboration between trusting the flow and acting from inspiration. Choose one small, specific action you feel inspired to take, an action that could move you closer to a financial desire. Perhaps it's making a phone call you've been avoiding, writing the first page of a business plan, initiating a conversation about a collaborative idea you've been nurturing, or even decluttering and reorganizing your workspace to invite new energy. Before you take this action, take a few moments to breathe deeply. Feel yourself letting go of any rigid expectations about the specific outcome of that action. Release any pressure to succeed or fear of failure. Then move forward with that action, but with the gentle mindset of a leaf in the wind, with the flexibility of water always finding its course. Let your action be an offering, an expression of your faith in the universe, unburdened by the need for a specific result according to your will. This is the path of aligned action, purposeful yet peaceful, intentional yet surrendered to the universe's adjustments and guidance. When you act in this way, you are not merely doing, you are participating in a creative dance with life itself, where each step, however small, is an affirmation of faith and paves the way for the flow of prosperity to find you. Chapter 24. The Subtle Art of Allowing, Letting Money Flow Freely. In a fragrant bakery kitchen in a small neighborhood, Arthur, owner of an artisan bake shop, sat before his computer screen, frowning at analytics. He had just invested a considerable sum in a new online ordering system and a local advertising campaign, hoping to boost sales and attract more money to his somewhat struggling shop. Each morning after setting everything up, he would spend most of the remaining day checking website traffic metrics, order numbers, and ad performance almost hourly. He constantly tweaked ad copy, slightly adjusted prices, and called his web developer with anxious questions, wondering if the system was working, if he was doing it right. The market's response and the incoming cash flow seemed inexplicably slow and erratic, inversely proportional to his every intervention and anxious effort. Perhaps you too have been taught or have formed the belief that manifestation, especially attracting money, requires constant attention, unceasing monitoring like watching a pot to ensure it boils. However, a subtle truth is that this very excessive attention, this continuous interference based on fear and lack of trust, can create an invisible resistance blocking the natural flow of universal energy, including the flow of prosperity. When you plant a seed in fertile soil, do you dig it up every day to check if its roots have sprouted, to see how it's progressing? Certainly not. Nature, in its infinite wisdom, always knows the perfect timing, the perfect sequence, and the perfect unfolding for all life. The law of allowing, one of the golden keys to effortless manifestation, operates through deep trust, not constant intervention. Every time you question with doubt whether your financial manifestation is working, you inadvertently create a ripple of skepticism, an energetic disturbance that disrupts the very process you wish to nurture. The universe, in its responsiveness, answers not just your specific words or actions, but resonates more powerfully with the energy of trust or distrust you are emitting. In the gentle, cyclical rhythms of nature, you will find the profound truth of non-interference. The moon does not need to force the tides to rise or fall. It simply maintains its presence and gravitational pull, and the seawater naturally responds. The sun does not need to demand that flowers bloom. It simply shines its light and warmth, and the petals will unfurl at their own perfect moment when they are ready. Isabel, a talented musician whose instrumental album she had self-produced and released online, had spent years trying to control every aspect of her music career to make a living from it. After her new album debuted, she became almost obsessed with checking numbers, online streams, album sales, social media comments, and her email inbox was in a constant state of anticipation for performance invitations or collaborations. She persistently sent emails, messaged music bloggers, and playlist curators, anxiously inquiring if they had heard her music, if they could help promote it. This energy of wanting and lacking seemed to create an invisible wall between her and the opportunities she so craved. Then one winter afternoon, sitting by the window watching snowflakes fall gently, she observed her pet cat lying still, patiently and completely silent, waiting for a toy mouse she had just tossed aside. The cat showed no impatience, no attempt to force the mouse to come closer. It was simply present, trusting, and waiting. A deep understanding suddenly dawned on Isabel. Transformation success sometimes requires a space of allowing, a trust in the natural process. From that day forward, Isabel decided to change her approach. After completing a small promotional campaign for a new single, she consciously released it energetically. She continued to create new music, her core work and passion, but she stopped obsessively checking numbers, stopped the anxious follow-up emails. She trusted that her music, created from the heart, would have its own power to find resonant listeners. A few weeks later, something unexpected happened. An influential international music blogger whom she had never contacted accidentally discovered her single through a share from an anonymous fan. That blogger's article created a wave of interest, bringing Isabel thousands of new streams, a surge in music sales, and performance invitations to venues she had never dreamed of. All of this happened when she stopped interfering with the unfolding of opportunity and allowed her work the space to breathe and attract in its own way. Practice the sacred space of financial allowing. Your practice this week invites you to step into a similar sacred space of allowing in your financial life. Choose one specific financial area where you feel you often tend to overly control, worry excessively, or intervene unnecessarily. It could be tracking your investments hourly, constantly, checking sales figures for a new product, trying to steer a negotiation your way, or even obsessively thinking about how a certain sum of money will come to you. For the next 7 days, consciously withdraw your interference in that area. Continue your normal activities related to it, e.g., if you plan to send an email, still send it, but then release all need to check the results immediately to verify if it's working, or to try to force a specific outcome to happen exactly as you want it and on your timeline. When you feel the urge to intervene, to check, to do something to speed things up, simply observe this urge gently without acting on it. Take a deep breath and remind yourself that the universe, with its infinite wisdom, is working on your behalf, and that what is truly meant for you, the financial flows that are right for you, cannot miss you when you are in a state of allowing. This exercise might feel uncomfortable at first. Our ego, with its habits of control and fear, often resists surrender and trust. But within this initial discomfort lies your great potential for transformation. Like Isabel with her music, you are learning to trust in the natural unfolding of your financial desires, in a more intelligent current at play. The universe has been waiting for you to step back a little, to give its infinite intelligence room to operate through you, instead of constantly meeting the resistance of your controlling efforts. Allow and you will witness wonders. Chapter 25. The Secret of Sufficiency. Why money finds you when you stop seeking happiness from it. In a luxurious law office high in a skyscraper, Mr. David Chang, a successful corporate lawyer, frequently gazed at his asset growth charts. He had spent his entire life chasing one financial achievement after another, convinced that true happiness and peace of mind awaited him at some future finish line after buying the beachside villa, after his investment portfolio hit 8 figures, after his children graduated from prestigious universities. Each financial goal achieved brought only fleeting satisfaction, a temporary sense of relief, before he set his sights on a higher rung, a new conquest. The bookshelves in his office might be filled with awards and commendations, the walls adorned with photos from extravagant travels, but the deep joy, the peace, and the sense of enoughness he sought through money remained like an elusive mirage, intangible and distant. You have been conditioned by society, family, and perhaps even yourself to believe that happiness, security, and fulfillment lie somewhere in the future, after you get promoted and earn a higher salary, after you buy your dream house, after you accumulate enough money to retire safely. This perpetual chase, this constant projection of your happiness and sufficiency onto future financial achievements, inadvertently creates a void that can never be filled by external things. Because happiness, like true sufficiency, is not a destination you can buy with money or achieve through effort. It is a way of being, a state of awareness, a choice that can be made right here in the present moment. Ancient masters and sages worldwide understood profoundly that true joy, peace, and a sense of enoughness can only exist in the present moment. When you continually project your happiness onto some future financial state, I'll be happy when I have enough money, you are unconsciously denying its existence right now, right here, in the very life you are living. This denial, this focus on what is not yet, becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, creating a cycle of endless seeking that blinds you to the abundance, blessings, and simple joys that already surround you every day. The universe, in its wise operation, functions through a subtle paradox. What you relentlessly chase with an energy of lack, be it happiness or money, will tend to elude you, while what you sincerely embrace, cherish, and feel sufficient with from within will naturally flow towards you. True happiness and a sense of prosperity are not found through incessant shopping accumulation or achieving external financial milestones, but are discovered through your recognition and appreciation of what is already present in your life. It arises not from adding more material things to your life, but from awakening to the inherent sufficiency, the hidden wealth in every moment of existence. Maria Rodriguez, a single mother working part-time at a community college and taking on freelance writing projects to make ends meet, once lived in constant financial worry. She continually juggled bills, felt a persistent sense of lack, and always dreamed of a sudden stroke of luck, a higher-paying job or a lottery win that would bring her financial peace and happiness. The transformation in her life began not with a large sum of money falling from the sky, but from a simple decision. She started practicing daily gratitude. Instead of focusing on what she lacked, she actively sought out and acknowledged the intangible yet immensely valuable riches she already possessed. The clear laughter of her children, her ability to inspire her students, the writing talent she owned, the warm support of close friends, a simple yet nutritious and delicious meal. She began to find joy and a sense of enoughness, a richness right within her modest current circumstances. This shift in perception and energy made her more positive, creative, and resilient. She started writing with a renewed passion and authenticity, no longer merely to earn money. And then one of her heartfelt blog posts, sharing her journey of finding joy and sufficiency in simple things, unexpectedly went viral, attracting the attention of a major publisher. They offered her a book deal, an unexpected and meaningful financial opportunity, a flow of prosperity that came to her not because she was relentlessly chasing money, but precisely because she had dared to become an embodiment of sufficiency, gratitude, and joy in the present. Practice 5 Joys of Present Sufficiency. For the next 7 days, practice pausing 3 times each day, once as dawn breaks, once when the sun is at its midday peak, and once as dusk begins to settle. In each of these moments of pause, look around your immediate environment wherever you are and try to find 5 sources of joy, 5 expressions of wealth or sufficiency that you can perceive right then. It could be the play of sunlight on a wall creating beautiful patterns, the texture of a soft fabric beneath your fingertips, or the warmth of your morning tea/coffee cup, the gentle, steady rhythm of your own breath, a sign of life, the soft sway of curtains in a gentle breeze, or the rustling of leaves outside your window, the distant sounds of life unfolding outside, children's laughter, bird song, or even peaceful silence. Let these simple joys, these expressions of already present sufficiency, fill you completely without needing to seek anything more. Try to resist the temptation to chase grander experiences or dismiss these moments as insignificant. In this practice of presence and gratitude, you will gradually discover that happiness and a sense of enoughness were never truly lost. They were simply awaiting your recognition of their eternal presence in every moment. As you cultivate this awareness, you begin to understand that the universe has been offering you countless gifts in every instant, patiently waiting for you to unwrap them with your conscious attention and an open heart. And when you reside in that state of sufficiency, you become a natural magnet for even more good things, including the prosperous flow of finances. Chapter 26. Living as if you are already wealthy, creating financial reality from within. In a modern financial advisory office where numbers and strategies reign supreme, Mr. Alistair Finch, a respected financial planner, often confronted a personal paradox. Though he could guide others to financial security, he himself always felt an underlying lack, a vague anxiety about the future. Each morning he meticulously reviewed his personal budget, set strict savings goals, and tried to become more financially secure. But despite his professional achievements and extensive knowledge, an inner voice constantly whispered, "Still not enough, need more." This voice propelled him to continually refine his personal financial plans, seek additional income streams, yet the core feeling of insufficiency persisted like a dim cloud obscuring the joy from what he already possessed. You have been taught, and perhaps you too have believed, that becoming someone else wealthier, more successful, is the only way to have what you desire. However, this very belief This focus on becoming in the future can keep you trapped in a perpetual cycle of seeking a feeling of never arriving. The truth, a truth so simple that most people overlook or dismiss it, lies in a fundamental operating principle of consciousness, your subconscious mind. The invisible control center of all manifestation doesn't truly respond to what is in your physical reality, but it responds powerfully and directly to what you believe is to the inner state you embody and feel right here in the present moment. When you actively and consciously embody the version of yourself who already has what you desire financially, sufficiency, peace of mind, freedom, you are activating invisible creative forces, energetic laws that transcend ordinary conscious understanding. This is not pretending or living in illusion. It is a purposeful alignment with a reality that already exists, in potential waiting to be drawn towards you by your very vibrational frequency. Ancient mystics who profoundly understood the operating laws of the universe knew this power well. They spoke of it in whispers and metaphors passed down through generations, as within, so without. Your inner world creates your outer world. Your subconscious mind, with its limitless capacity, cannot clearly distinguish between an experience vividly imagined and deeply felt and an experience actually occurring in the physical world. This is why top Olympic athletes can significantly improve their performance simply by meticulously visualizing and feeling victory from within. When you consciously step into and live in the energy of your desired financial reality, you transmit a specific vibrational frequency, a clear signal that the universe in its harmony cannot help but respond to and match. The transformation in Mr. Alistair's financial and emotional life began the day he stopped trying to become financially secure in the future and instead simply started being that person in the present. Instead of constantly rehearsing in his mind what he would do when he had more money, he began to move through each day as if that financial abundance and peace were already an inseparable part of him. He allowed himself to feel deep gratitude for what he currently had, however modest it seemed. He made personal financial decisions from a perspective of sufficiency and trust rather than from fear and lack. He allowed himself to enjoy small pleasures in life that he had previously denied himself due to a sense of needing to save for the future. Within a few weeks, unexpected changes began to occur. He attracted wealthier, more agreeable clients who seemed to resonate with his new energy of confidence and calm. Smart investment opportunities he had previously missed suddenly appeared with ease. His external reality began to adjust itself to match his changed inner state. Isabella, a talented young chef working in a chain restaurant for a modest salary, always cherished the dream of owning her own high-end catering company, one that could offer her both creative freedom and abundant income. For years, she focused only on what she lacked: capital, a standard commercial kitchen connections with high-end clients. Fear and a sense of not enough constantly enveloped her. Then one day she read about the art of living as if and decided to experiment. She began to act, think, and most importantly feel as if she were already the owner of a successful and sought-after catering company. She spent her free time designing her dream menus, researching high-quality ingredient suppliers as if she were about to place large orders. She visualized herself confidently coordinating prestigious events. When talking to friends or acquaintances, she spoke of her future company with the passion and certainty of an established entrepreneur. She even volunteered to cater a small but reputable community charity event, executing everything as if she were running a top-tier catering service. This authentically embodied energy of success and professionalism became incredibly magnetic. A guest at that charity event, deeply impressed by her exquisite food and her confident, enthusiastic demeanor, the aura of a successful business, turned out to be looking for a new caterer for his company's important events. That very encounter brought Isabella her first major contract, a lucrative deal that provided the solid foundation and initial capital for her to officially launch her dream catering company. To outsiders, it might have seemed like a miracle, but Isabella understood she had simply dared to step into and live in a reality that was awaiting her recognition and embodiment. Practice living in your desired financial reality, starting today. For tomorrow, and if possible for the following days, you will practice living as if your financial desire has already fully manifested. Choose your attire and demeanor. Select the outfit that the future version of you, the one who has achieved the financial freedom and prosperity you desire, would wear. Walk with the confidence, the poise of someone who is already successful, someone who knows their worth. Make decisions from a new perspective. Try to make decisions throughout the day, big or small, from the perspective of that already abundant person. How would they think? How would they act? How would they feel? Speak from a state of manifestation. When talking to others, let your words flow from this state of already having manifested. Speak about your work, your finances, your future with an optimism, trust, and peace, as if everything good is already yours. This is not about pretending or deceiving yourself. It is about consciously acknowledging and activating a truth, a potential that already exists within your energy field. As you move through your day with this mindset, pay close attention to how your external reality begins to harmonize, resonate, and reflect back the new energetic frequency you are emitting. The right opportunities, people, and resources will begin to find you drawn by the very shift from within you. Chapter 27. The Unshakable Confidence of the Master. Financial Manifestor. Belief creates proof. In a co-working space buzzing with creative energy, Samuel, a young entrepreneur with a groundbreaking sustainable energy technology idea, often sat alone amidst strategic diagrams, detailed vision boards, and journals filled with manifestation principles. His hand sometimes trembled as he wrote down his millionth affirmation about the project's success and the abundant investment capital that would find its way to him. Despite years of practicing spiritual techniques and believing in his potential, a subtle doubt often lingered like an invisible shadow whispering in his ear that perhaps he hadn't done enough. His plan wasn't perfect enough. Perhaps he wasn't worthy enough of great success, or simply that he wasn't truly ready to receive it. You have been taught, and this society frequently reinforces the belief that confidence can only follow concrete achievements, that certainty only comes after you have clear proof of your abilities. This is one of the greatest illusions, an invisible chain that keeps you bound within self-imposed limitations. The universe, in its miraculous responsiveness, reacts not just to what you mechanically do, but it resonates powerfully and directly with what you are certain of from the deepest core of your being, with your unclouded belief. When you examine the lives of the greatest achievers in history, from brilliant inventors who changed the world, talented artists who touched millions of hearts, to visionary leaders who guided entire generations, you will find a striking commonality. They held an unshakable certainty about their vision and their abilities, even before external reality had time to align and reflect that belief. They didn't wait for proof from the external world before daring to believe. Their ironclad faith created the proof. The power of this absolute certainty, the ability to know something will come to fruition even when there are no visible signs, lies dormant within you. It is not something you need to achieve from the outside, but a quality you need to remember, to awaken from the depths of your subconscious. Every child is born with this truth, a natural connection to infinite possibility, until the surrounding world gradually teaches them doubt and limitation. You once knew that anything was possible. That primal knowing is still alive within you, waiting to be reawakened and reactivated. The transformation in Samuel's entrepreneurial journey began the day he truly understood that his doubt wasn't protecting him from failure as he had imagined. On the contrary, it was silently constructing the very limitations, the very barriers he feared. The moment he consciously chose absolute certainty in his project's success, in the value it offered, regardless of how negative or uncertain external evidence seemed, the universe began to rearrange elements, opportunities, and relationships to match his changed inner knowing. Investors who had previously hesitated suddenly sensed a newfound confidence and clear vision radiating from him, and the necessary funding arrived unexpectedly. Priya, an accountant who had worked for many years in a large corporation with a stable but uninspiring position, always cherished the dream of leaving her current job to start a career as a personal financial coach, especially to empower women to take control of their financial lives. She believed this path would bring her not only professional fulfillment but also greater financial freedom and prosperity. However, for years she doubted her ability to succeed independently. She feared financial instability in the initial phase, worried if anyone would be willing to pay for her services, and wondered if she had the makings of an entrepreneur. She took many courses, obtained necessary certifications, but kept her dream secret and safe within her current job, never daring to fully commit due to a lack of core confidence. She only truly found the strength to change after attending a seminar on the role of belief and confidence in creating success. Instead of continuing to seek external validation or waiting until she felt 100% ready, a state she realized would never come if she kept doubting, Priya decided to become a successful and influential financial coach right from a place of absolute inner knowing. She began by confidently offering free or low-cost coaching to a few acquaintances, not to timidly test the market, but as a powerful and confident demonstration of the expertise she already possessed. She spoke and acted with the quiet authority of a seasoned professional. Word spread. People were drawn to her unshakable belief in her methods and in their potential. Positive testimonials began to appear. She transitioned smoothly into full-time coaching, attracting ideal clients who deeply valued her unique approach and dedication, bringing her an abundant income and the satisfaction she had always craved. The external world once again simply harmonized with the unshakable confidence she had finally allowed herself to embody and live from. Practice imbuing financial certainty for 7 days. For the next 7 days, choose a specific financial desire you wish to manifest, e.g., a new contract, an unexpected income, a solution to a financial problem. And for these 7 days, consciously embody an absolute certainty of its successful manifestation. Eliminate doubt. Consciously remove all traces of doubt from your thoughts, words, and actions related to this desire. Observe and release. When doubtful or anxious thoughts arise, and they likely will, do not try to fight them or argue with them. Simply observe them gently passing through your mind like clouds in the sky, while you steadfastly maintain your inner knowing that your desire has already or is in the process of materializing. Speak and act as if it has already manifested. Speak of your desire, if you choose to share it with someone, as if it has already been beautifully accomplished. Move through your day with the quiet confidence, the inner peace of someone who knows their creative power and the support of the universe. This is not about trying to convince yourself artificially. It's about remembering a truth you have always known deep down, that your inner certainty shapes your financial reality, not the other way around. Believe it, and you will witness wonders. Chapter 28. The Path of Least Resistance to Prosperity. Flowing with Natural Money. Currents amidst a dense forest of business ideas and plans. Ben Carter, a social entrepreneur with a grand vision, had spent countless hours and immense energy trying to force into existence a complex, multi-featured software platform aimed at connecting volunteers with nonprofit organizations globally. Each passing day brought new strategies efforts to secure massive initial funding and attempts to manage myriad moving parts simultaneously in an increasingly complicated system. However, true success community adoption and the necessary cash flow remained like an elusive mirage. His relentless struggle mirrored a futile effort, like trying to push back a mighty, surging river. You have been taught, and society frequently reinforces the belief that all great achievements demand a forceful exertion of will, that financial success, especially breakthrough success, must come from unyielding struggle. However, take a moment to observe how nature, the greatest teacher, accomplishes its grandest feats. Water, with its softness and persistence, shapes even mighty granite mountain ranges, not through instantaneous force, but by steadfastly following the path of least resistance, seeping through every crevice, gradually eroding over time. Lightning striking from the sky always chooses the easiest, most efficient path to release its energy. Even light, the epitome of speed and clarity, travels along the most efficient path through vast space. The universe, in its profound operations, functions through elegance, through optimization, not through strenuous effort. When you align yourself with this truth, when you learn to recognize and follow the path of least resistance in your financial affairs, you tap into a power far greater than any mere force can yield. Your role in attracting money and creating prosperity is not to make things happen at all costs, but to allow them to unfold with a natural grace and rhythm. The principle of the path of least resistance reveals itself in every story of sustainable success, though few may recognize its subtle presence. Those who seem to achieve overnight success or businesses that grow miraculously are often simply those who have learned to flow with life with opportunity instead of trying to fight them with rigid plans and unnecessary effort. Anya, a talented artist and illustrator, discovered this truth on her own challenging journey to make a living from her artistic passion. Initially, she exhausted herself trying to force herself down the traditional path, attempting to create works she thought prestigious galleries would favor, though they didn't truly reflect her inner voice, engaging in complex online marketing campaigns that felt alien and uncomfortable, and trying to build a personal brand according to templates she deemed professional. Financial success remained distant, and her creative joy was gradually eroded by stress and pressure, until one day, too weary from struggling, she decided to surrender to simplicity, to follow the path her heart indicated. Instead of trying to fight market trends or force herself into an ill-fitting mold, she allowed her creative work to develop organically. She began to paint what truly brought her joy, pictures that reflected her rich and unique inner world, with a style that was free and unconstrained. Instead of complex marketing strategies, she started sharing her work simply and authentically on a single social media platform she genuinely loved, where she could connect with like-minded people. She began selling small prints, affordable art-applied items, things she could create easily and joyfully. This path, the path of least emotional and energetic resistance for her, unexpectedly yielded remarkable results. People were drawn to the genuine joy, uniqueness, and positive energy radiating from her works. Her following grew organically, orders started coming in more regularly, and she began to earn a stable income from doing what she loved in a way that felt natural, joyful, and no longer an endless struggle. Financial success came to her not from struggle, but from aligning with her own natural path. The ancient practice of the path of least resistance in finance. Choose an important financial decision or a goal you are currently facing, something where you feel a bit stuck or are exerting a lot of effort. Instead of rushing to analyze every possibility to exhaustion or trying to force a predetermined outcome, your way, take some time to observe in silence. Ask yourself, which path, solution, or action related to this issue feels easiest, lightest to me? Which direction seems to have the least internal resistance? Less worry, less doubt, and external resistance, fewer barriers, less complexity. If there is a natural flow trying to guide me, what would it be? For one full day, or at least for a few hours, try making your small choices related to this issue based solely on that sense of ease and flow, temporarily setting aside the deeply ingrained conditioning that it must be hard to be valuable or success requires struggle. Record how this decision unfolds, paying particular attention to the subtle ways the universe seems to support choices aligned with natural law, unexpected synchronicities, unbidden help. Remember, nature never strains, never forces, never struggles in vain. Yet mountains stand majestic, rivers diligently carve magnificent canyons, and stars illuminate the vast cosmos. Your power in attracting money and creating prosperity lies not in trying to push against the current of life, but in learning to recognize and align with its infinite wisdom, following the elegant path of least resistance. Chapter 29. The final step to financial freedom. Complete surrender. Receive all in the dazzling stage lights and thunderous applause. Javier, critically acclaimed and talented musician, often concealed a secret fear. Amidst tours and recording contracts, he clung to his career and image like a fragile shield against the uncertainties of the music industry and financial anxieties. Each morning he awoke to endless worries. Would the next album succeed? Would his fame fade? Would his income stream be interrupted? His days were spent trying to control every element, from song selection to promotional strategies, building complex defenses against what could go wrong. Yet these very defenses, erected from fear, became the walls of an invisible prison, confining his true creativity and joy in his work. You have been taught, and perhaps you too believe, that control brings safety, that meticulous preparation will prevent pain and loss, especially in financial matters. However, this is the grandest illusion, for in your desperate attempt to avoid what you fear, poverty, failure, loss, you inadvertently create the very resistance, the energetic contraction that tends to manifest and attract your deepest anxieties into your reality. But when you completely surrender to all possibilities, even those you fear most, something extraordinary happens. That very fear loses its grip on you. This is not mere positive thinking therapy. It is a fundamental law of existence, a truth operating at the deepest energetic level. The universe does not respond to the defensive barriers built from your fear. It responds to your openness, your allowing, your trust. Within complete surrender lies absolute power. Consider how water, the epitome of softness, is yet always invincible, not through rigid resistance, but through absolute adaptability. Water cannot be destroyed because it accepts every form, every flow. This is your natural state when you are no longer governed by fear, flexible, fearless, and utterly free. The Patel family, owners of a small grocery store that had existed for generations in a rapidly changing neighborhood, discovered this truth during their most difficult period. Faced with fierce competition from large supermarkets and shifting consumer shopping habits, their store teetered on the brink of bankruptcy. They confronted their greatest fear, losing their family legacy, their sole source of livelihood, and facing destitution. Initially, they tried to fight against their circumstances. They clung to their outdated business model, complained about unfairness, and worked tirelessly under immense stress and anxiety. In a moment of near desperation, when all efforts seemed futile, they made a choice that changed everything. They no longer had the strength to fight. Instead, they chose complete surrender. They accepted the possibility that the store might have to close, that they might lose everything. They stopped trying to predict or control the outcome. They loosened their grip on how things had to remain. Most importantly, they surrendered to and accepted even their greatest fears without further resistance. In doing so, they discovered what mystics have known for millennia, that surrender, the complete acceptance of reality as it is not weakness but supreme strength. Within a few months of that inner capitulation, unexpected things began to flow into the Patel family's life. peace replaced constant anxiety. With more open minds, they began to truly listen to their remaining customers, recognizing a demand for specialty imported goods that large supermarkets didn't carry. They connected more genuinely with their local community. A regional food cooperative, sensing their sincerity and community spirit, offered a partnership helping them transform their store into a vibrant specialty market and community hub. The store not only didn't close, but thrived more than ever before in an entirely new way. The family legacy was preserved in a new form, and their financial prosperity was secured. But the true miracle lay not just in those external changes. It was in the unshakable peace they found through complete surrender, even in the face of their greatest fears. The ancient practice of fearless financial surrender. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed, an inner sanctuary where the worries of the external world cannot temporarily reach you. Bring to mind your deepest financial fear, the fear that makes your heart race, the fear that makes you want to run or shrink. It could be the fear of poverty, fear of job loss, fear of business failure, fear of not being able to provide for your family, or any other fear related to money and security. Now imagine yourself opening completely to this fear. Allow it to be present within you without any resistance. Do not try to change it. Do not try to analyze it. Do not try to push it away. Simply allow it to exist fully and completely within your field of awareness. Feel yourself becoming like water, accepting every form, every emotion, without losing your core essence of still awareness. Stay with this practice, breathing deeply into the very center of the fear, until you feel a subtle shift from a state of resistance to a state of acceptance, from fear to a profound peace, a trust in your ability to navigate and in the support of the universe. The universe cannot bestow its gifts of prosperity upon you when you are holding the doors of your soul tightly shut with fear and resistance. But it is always rushing eager to fill the space created by your surrender, your openness, and your trust. This is the final step, the step of deepest courage and wisdom, complete surrender. In this surrender lies your greatest power, not only to attract financial prosperity, but to find true peace regardless of external circumstances. Chapter 30. The Ultimate Revelation. You are the source of prosperity. In the profound quietude of an ancient library, Professor Alistair Finch, a respected scholar of economics and philosophy, sat amidst thousands of books, spiritual texts, metaphysical treatises, complex economic theories, ancient manuscripts on the law of attraction. All had been pondered by him. For decades, he had diligently sought the ultimate key that could unlock the mysteries of manifestation, especially sustainable prosperity. He had analyzed investment strategies, studied affirmation techniques, practiced countless visualization methods. He had accumulated a vast treasure trove of knowledge, yet deep down he still felt something was missing, a true power and absolute financial serenity that seemed to elude him. You, like Professor Alistair, may have spent much of your life searching the external world for answers, methods, secrets that you believe will bring you wealth, happiness, and peace. Things that in truth have always existed latently within you. The greatest truth, the truth that sages and mystics worldwide have silently guarded and passed down through the ages, lies not in any complex technique or distant law. It is so simple and profound as to be almost unbelievable. You are not merely a receiver or attractor of reality. You are the source that creates it. The reverse law, or any other law of manifestation we have explored, was never truly about techniques or methods as an end in themselves. They were merely vehicles to point you to something far more fundamental to your own true nature. The moment you stop seeking answers or power from the outside is the moment you can realize your true essence as the silent creator of all you experience, including your financial reality. This is not a literary metaphor or a distant abstract philosophy. It is the deepest, most core truth of existence. When you try to push against reality, when you fight your current financial circumstances, When you try to attract money from a position of lack or separation, you are inadvertently creating and reinforcing the illusion of separation between yourself and what you desire: money abundance. In doing so, you forget a foundational truth. Your very consciousness, the very awareness, reading these lines is the invisible power that has been and is bringing everything into existence in your experiential world. There is no powerful force outside of you to whom you must plead, no divine source external to you, whom you must try to please. You are the source. Maya, a passionate community artist who frequently faced difficulties fundraising for meaningful but often underfunded public art projects in disadvantaged neighborhoods, discovered this truth in a moment of profound stillness. After years of striving to find donors, writing countless grant proposals, practicing gratitude, and visualizing large sums of money arriving, she still often felt like a supplicant, waiting for a boon from some external universe or force. Then one day, facing the imminent cancellation of a crucial project due to a severe lack of funds, feeling utterly helpless and desperate, she decided to cease all external efforts. She simply sat quietly amidst her unfinished artworks in the stillness of her makeshift studio. Instead of planning or continuing to pray, she turned inward, connecting with the very feeling of the project's value and meaning. And then a revelation sparked the inspiration for this project. The vision of its beauty and impact, and even its core value, none of it came from the outside. It was all flowing from within her own consciousness, her own being. She realized that the need for finances to execute the project was not a separate problem to be solved by external seeking. It was simply another aspect of the same creative flow issuing from the source within her. She stopped viewing funding as something external to be obtained and instead recognized her role as the channel, the creative source through which the project and the resources necessary for it could be manifested. With this newfound clarity and inner authority, the authority of one who knows themselves as source, she began to speak about her project in an entirely different way. She no longer presented herself as someone begging for help, but as a confident creator sharing her vision and inviting collaboration. And then resources began to flow to her in unexpected ways. Small donations from the community, enthusiastic volunteers offering their help, offers of free materials from local businesses. It was as if the universe could finally respond powerfully now that she had recognized and stepped into her true position of power, the position of source. The declaration of the financial creator. Sit in absolute stillness where space and time seem to dissolve. Close your eyes and feel the immutable presence of your own awareness, the pure, unchanging consciousness that has been and is witnessing every moment, every thought, every emotion of your life, including all experiences of money. Now realize profoundly that this awareness, this core I am, is not separate from the infinite creative power that has been and is creating worlds, creating all your experiences. Let these words resonate from the depths of your being, not as affirmations to try to convince yourself, but as a recognition of your true nature with all the quiet authority of one who knows who they are. I do not seek financial power, I am that power. I do not try to attract a prosperous reality. I am creating that reality. Everything I experience, every financial flow issues forth from my own core being. I am the source. I declare this truth not as a wishful affirmation, but as a recognition of what always is. Let this declaration arise not from selfish desire or a need to prove, but from an unshakable knowing of your true nature as the infinite source of all creation, including wealth and abundance in all its forms. This is the ultimate revelation, the supreme key. It is not a technique you need to do, but a truth you need to realize and live from. When you recognize yourself as the source, the search ends and the true creative dance begins. Prosperity is no longer something you pursue, it is the natural expression of who you are. Conclusion: living from the source. Prosperity is your essence. In the deep quietude of awareness, perhaps you have sat amidst a multitude of accumulated knowledge, financial principles, investment strategies, manifestation techniques, detailed plans. For years, you may have relentlessly sought the universal key that could unlock the door to sustainable wealth and sufficiency. You have learned, you have practiced, you have strived. Yet perhaps a profound sense of true abundance and absolute financial serenity still felt like something in the distance. Because through all these chapters, through all the stories and practices, you have gradually discovered what mystics and sages have known since time immemorial: a great paradox, a reverse law that lies at the very heart of all creation, including the creation of prosperity. You now understand that strenuous effort was never the true path to effortless financial manifestation. Struggling against its circumstances was never the way to achieve sustainable success. And the force of will or excessive control was never the key to true financial power. The final truth, the ultimate revelation, has been unveiled. You are the source from which all reality, including your financial reality, is ceaselessly flowing. Prosperity comes to you not through what you strenuously do, but through the abundant being you realize yourself to be, not through seeking money externally, but through the knowing of your infinite worth and deservingness, not through effort to achieve, but through allowing the natural flow of the universe to operate through you. This understanding, when truly absorbed and lived from, transforms everything in your relationship with money. You no longer need to chase desires for wealth, for you realize that those desires themselves are but expressions arising from your own infinite, abundant nature. You no longer need to struggle against difficult financial circumstances, for you see that all circumstances are merely temporary reflections of your inner beliefs or energies, and you, as source, have the power to change them from the root. You no longer need to force financial reality to conform to your limited will, for you recognize that you are the creative consciousness, the knowing space from which all realities, including wealth or lack, are born and dissolved in every moment. The reverse law, or any other law of manifestation, is not merely a technique you must master. They are but maps pointing you back to the fundamental nature of existence itself, back to your role as creator. When you truly grasp this, at the deepest level, manifesting abundance becomes as natural as your breath. Creating new income streams becomes as effortless as a beautiful dream, and sustainable financial success becomes as inevitable as the dawn after a long night. Now you stand at the threshold of infinite possibility, not just the ability to attract money, but the ability to create any reality you desire. The universe, with all its vastness and generosity, awaits your command, not through force, control, or strenuous effort, but through your simple, serene, and powerful recognition of a truth that has always been: you are not separate from the financial power or any other power you seek. You are that power expressing itself through the unique, precious form you call I. Let this understanding sink deep into every cell, every heartbeat. Feel the boundless relief of knowing you no longer need to battle the world or yourself to attain prosperity. Experience the infinite freedom of realizing your true nature as the source of all creation, including money and abundance in all its forms. The door has truly opened to an entirely new way of being, a way of living, where effort dissolves into ease, where struggle transforms into harmonious flow, where all resistance finally melts into unconditional acceptance and love. The choice before you now is simple, yet profound. Are you willing to step fully into this grand truth? Will you allow yourself to begin creating your financial reality with the effortless power, joy, and peace that are inherently yours? The universe awaits your next command, not through affirmations or visualizations as techniques, but through the silent knowing, the steadfast recognition of your own infinite, abundant, and creative nature. Live from that source, and you will find that prosperity is not something you need to attract. It is your natural essence,